Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Slot One Super Podcast, episode 31. It's always so crazy that we're this far along. I can't believe it. Every time we go up a number, I'm always amazed. We are here once again to discuss some Dokkan shenanigans, of course. Joining me for this week, as per usual, we have the boys Minato's Flash and Mas Ningen. Say hello, gentlemen.
Yo.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm excited today. This is a Dokkan Fest I've been excited for a while.
Me too. I thought you were about to do my intro. I thought you were about to go, hello, everybody. Oh, man. Well, we are very excited. I'm very excited. I don't know, if I just won the lottery or something this week when it came to Dokkan, because, of course, we are going to be talking about the brand new upcoming JP Dokkan Fest Toppo, obviously the God of Destruction Toppo, a highly anticipated Dokkan Fest that we have been waiting for as a community for quite a long time now. I feel like it's one of those Dokkan Fests where wherever people talk about what should be an upcoming Dokkan Fest, it's something that people bring up, so that is very exciting. We also have April Fools on the horizon, right? We have as well the Goku got an awakening in EZA, which we'll talk about today. My favorite Goku fit. I was ecstatic to see that card was getting some love. So, with all that being said, before we get into things here, don't forget, if you would like to help support the podcast, all of the super chats and donations that you guys send through, we'll be reading at the very end of the show. So don't worry, we're not ignoring you. We're just saving it for the very end. We got to save the best for last, right? Anyhow, let's go ahead and get into the main things here. So, of course, first of all, right, we got to talk about the two brand new units. Toppo, of course, being the brand new big boy. Now, like I mentioned before, obviously, this is a Dokkan Fest that we have been anticipating for quite some time. I know I myself have been really hyping this man up. Honestly, I don't think I've been this excited for a monthly Dokkan Fest in a fat minute. And I really like Toppo, but I think it's also just because as a community, we've been hyping this man up for so long. So before I'll definitely talk about his animations, because I have only positive things to say, which is great, honestly. But Minato, what do you think about this guy from the kit standpoint?
So God Toppo looks to be pretty nice. I did translate his details when it came out officially. Dude, translating, it's so, I just want to say, well, it's so blurry, so it's just so hard to look into it. And
Dude,
thank you, Twitter.
I was live when they tweeted his thing, and that image with the 6 different panels full of text, literally on my stream, I was like, "Good luck, Minato," trying to read all that.
Oh, bad! It's just. When it's detailed at this point, there's 6 different category restrictions or whatever it is, kit. So just I just got confused when they're just please post them in separate XM. But when it comes to God Toppo, he seems to be a very good character in terms of design. I mean, he's a character that I like, a slot 1 tank defensive character. In slot 2 or 3, he could still be pretty decent as well. But after the first 3 turns, when his interbuff runs out, he will lose that guard. But essentially, in slot 1, he's sitting there. He has the guard with the 31% damage reduction. Based on the math, he's sitting around 500 to 550k defense before he supers, though. So while it is a little low because he has the guard and the 30% reduction, it seems like he will actually be able to eat a lot of super attacks. But when it comes to this guy, I think the issue with him is links. His partners are just not really looking the greatest unless you link him with himself, which could definitely work. You can link God Toppo with himself. That could work out. You can link him with the LR Gammas as well. That could be nice. But what I really want to see, we'll talk about it later, is a partner that'll EZA for him, hopefully, and then give him that tough as nails link, which is a 20% defense and 5% reduction. That'd be so good. But
yeah,
besides that, I do like that he has a relatively easy transformation edition in terms of the GP content that's out right now. And in God Toppo, I think he seems very, very, very strong, right? His active skill, from what I saw, it seems that his active skill activates crits during battle, and it seems like based on it reads, he like just crits for the rest of the battle, right? I guess I
Oh.
can't say I'm 100% sure
Hmm.
because we have to wait to see what it's in game, but the wording is different than like other active skills that only crit on the active skill, because it would usually say like temporarily performs a crit or something. But
Yeah, it says like
his does,
for the turn or something. It specifically
yeah,
says,
Mhm.
doesn't it? That's interesting.
yeah, his does always activates critical hits during battle. So I don't know if it's like applicable to just the active skill or it's like activates crits for the rest of battle, which is how like it would be worded in the global version, which would mean that oh,
Yeah.
he's critting for the rest of the fight. I haven't seen anyone bring it up or anyone say anything about it, so I guess I could check just in case after the podcast. But I haven't seen anyone bring it up, so I assume he's critting for the rest of battle. And
Okay.
in that case, that'd be really good. You could
That
build on
would
like
be
full
really good.
dodge, yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. And what I would say is the only thing I'm like about is that his damage reduction, right? So he gets 80% reduction, then he loses 8% with each attack he receives. I think that's good. Like it's not a bad mechanic at all. You just transform him at the end of the fight, and then he's like invincible. The only issue is I think that it could have like once you get down to the 20% reduction, it stays that way. It does not reset. Specifically, it does not actually end up resetting once you what's it called? Like once you enter the next turn, it's just down to that 20%. So that's what I'm kind of about. But besides that, again, if you save this guy for the end, he seems like he'll be pretty nice. So I'm a fan of his design. I think he could be very interesting.
Gotcha. Very good. Ningen, anything on this guy?
No, I mean he seems interesting. He seems powerful. It's funny when they do this because like I'm not saying he's well. I mean he does seem to be super good. I was gonna say I'm not saying he's on the level of Ginyu meta wise, but he probably is because he seems like he could be argued as being maybe the second or third best TUR. It's funny when they do this for characters that are like the lower, like the filler Dokkan Fest. Sometimes we
Yeah.
get a filler Dokkan Fest and it is the definition of filler, where it's like, well, this is an easy skip before like a big celebration. And then occasionally we'll get this, where it's like Toppo of all characters.
I mean,
and he's like an
Yep.
absolute
thing-
beast.
The thing I do like is that so far the track has been nice. Frieza just needs a little bit of a better setup, but Frieza is really powerful. Transferring Vegeta is really good, and then now Toppo is pretty good.
Mhm.
I think we're 3 for 3 TURs right now. So I mean, I haven't used Toppo yet. Once he's in game, I'll probably be able to get it.
Yeah.
You mean 4 for 4? Because let's not forget about physical rose. Your favorite.
Right. Right.
3 for
But yeah,
3.
Anyway.
But yeah, so I mean, it's funny
That
because
Rose's
I wasn't expecting to be quite as on my own on this one as I felt after you two gave your intros. But for me personally, Toppo is a character that is like zero hype, so I do not care about his release
That's
like at all.
crazy. That's crazy.
I
Get
mean,
this man out of here.
I don't know what it is, but like, I just for me in general, like the Tournament of Power is just not that hype outside of like a few moments. I don't care about Jiren or like pretty much any of the characters from any of the other universes, to be honest. But I mean, in terms of the game, I'm obviously a fan of like these cards coming out and actually being good. So it'll be interesting to see what he's like and how he fits into some of these other teams. His leader skill is interesting. I don't think his full 200% lead team is necessarily the best without some of these potential buffs that we're going to get. But it's like Minato said, something that we'll go into a bit more detail about is, of course, what could potentially happen during the celebration to help out him and his teams. Because I think I saw when someone posted some of his calcs, like they looked really good, and then someone highlighted, I saw a screenshot of literally like zoomed into that part of the post,
Yeah.
whereas like his link partner was the int Toppo, like
I
which
just
that
don't
unit
like
is basically just
things that, like-
unrunnable. So like that, if
Yeah,
they give that
exactly.
unit an easy A, or obviously we get like Jiren or something like that, then that could be super interesting. But yeah, I think it's cool. It's an interesting choice. I feel like, unfortunately for him, even though he is really good, he's coming out in that time slot for both versions of the game, where he's probably like an easy skip, because if you're on JP, he's coming out, and then Golden Week is in like a couple of weeks' time.
Right.
And then if you're on Global, obviously, not only is Golden Week, he's going to come out between the anniversary and the worldwide download celebration. So not only have we just come out of the anniversary, so most people are going to be tapped dry, but then the worldwide celebration is like a couple of months after that. So
Yep.
unfortunately, he probably is releasing in that slot where he's kind of difficult to summon for a lot of people. But I mean, he seems
Yeah.
good. He'll be one of those units that when he comes back later on a future banner, it'd be cool to get him and try him out. But I imagine not a lot of people will probably go crazy summoning for him on release.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Certainly
like
seems good.
I'm probably gonna go like 300, 400, 500 stones, like around that range. And if I don't get him, I'm gonna be like, oh, I think like
Yeah.
because especially with Golden Week coming up, and then we do have a part 2 Alaria. I don't know what that's gonna be. Like I like Toppo, but I'm like, if I don't get him, I would rather save for like Golden Week, especially as a content creator, where it's like, what if Golden Week's like Blue Falcon Goku and hit or
Yeah.
something like crazy
Yeah.
that we've all been wanting. It's like, oh yeah, I want to put all my stone swords there.
Yep.
Stone management is important. Keep in mind, if you're an up-and-coming content creator and you want to create content in the game, you don't necessarily have to summon in every manner. You want to make sure that
Probably
say you
shouldn't,
like-
honestly.
yeah.
Well, plus the
you-
big thing is as well, there are always units that are when we have units that introduce new categories and stuff like that, then it's kind of different. Like for example, well, even physical Rose, to be honest, for global, like his best team, honestly, on global, like I still like that unit. I think he's underrated. I don't want to get sidetracked talking about him too much, but his best team, or my favorite team to run him on, isn't even his own team. So obviously in that case, having a copy of him is kind of required. But when it comes to units like Toppo, like you could quite easily make a team where you're using him as a friend and then just using units that you already have. So you get a chance to try him out if you can find one on the friends list, but you're not going to be suddenly like, without him, you can't run like his team in case there was a mission for like, tournament participants or something like that. So he's definitely one of those units that if you wanted to throw a few summons at him, but then you don't get him, it's not like the end of the world, right? And even like Renato said, as a content creator, like he is one of those units that I would summon for him, but I wouldn't go too deep. And if I didn't get him, I'd just make videos using him as a friend. But
exactly. That's what I'm going to do. Like I have the turn. He leads tournament participants, so I'm going to bring the tournament power androids. About the leader, right? You could do that, and then like on JP we have like all the 7th anniversary characters and things like that. I guess the only thing is that his intro would be a little harder to get because he does want 2 special poses and Allies of Justice, but there is definitely like a way you could get around that, especially if we got really good EZAs for that celebration. So we'll see how things work out, but yeah, I think overall it's cool that like special pose gets a new leader, and it's cool that tournament participants gets a new leader, like a different kind of leader. Because like the int androids are like a floating support, but this guy's like a slot 1 defensive character. So we'll see how that goes. We'll definitely see how that goes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It seems interesting. But yeah, Theo, I'm interested to know your take because I watched the animations. I like them in terms of the quality. None of them particularly excite me in terms of like the actual content of the animation, if you know what I mean, like the actual specific attacks that he's doing.
Yeah.
The nullification thing is cool. The one thing I will say though, before you get into all the detailed part, which I think is really funny, is his untransformed one, where he like jumps on their shoulders and does the like spinning. That's gonna look hilarious against like if you go up against like Cell Max or like Harudegar and stuff like that.
Do you know what's so funny that you say that is that literally I mentioned that in my video when I talked about these animations. I looked at that one and I was like, dog, that is gonna look so goofy with the giant characters and it's not gonna look correct at all. But I'm honestly like, I really want to pull him or use the friend immediately just so I can hop into like the Hyrudegon red zone just to try it out, just to see. But yeah, so honestly, I know a lot of people have been talking about the blast nullification because it is very cool, right? Obviously, where the blast hits him and then it turns into like the Hakai dust or whatever you would call it, right? Very, very cool. I honestly was super impressed, all things considered, by this guy's animations. I think in terms of like the quality, right? For sure, it seems like that, at least in my opinion, it was kind of interesting because I was seeing some people like quite a lot of people were actually saying this as well, which I was like, yes, I'm winning. But like, honestly, I think that his animations like far eclipse Vegeta's in terms of the quality, right? I think that they're really, really good. Obviously, right, when it comes to like character choice and obviously character hype, that's different for everybody because of course it's just like, you know, whatever character more so excites you. So, you know, I definitely understand that, like looking at them and not thinking that they're anything that crazy in terms of just like, you know, what actually happens in them. I don't know. I thought that they were all really, really good. The only thing I think, and like I had to like really nitpick even to find something that I like really wasn't the biggest fan of. So when that happens, you know it's a good animation. When I struggle like that, you know that they did a good job. Honestly, the only thing that was a little bit weird, and like I don't even know if I would call it like a bad thing in terms of like what actually happens in the animation, like looks fine. It's just like weird. And this has happened in a couple of other animations too. There was one section in Toppo's actual super, in the God of Destruction super, where it lags a little bit. It's where he's like bringing his hand up to then like fire off the orange key blast, right? For some reason it like lags a little bit. And the weird thing about that is usually I'm like, oh, okay, well, I should wait and, you know, like not judge this too harshly because obviously it could just be a thing with the Twitter video, you know, because Twitter's a funny website. And obviously maybe it was just something that the way that they recorded it, right, was definitely like a possibility as to why it could have the lag. But a lot of the time when that happens and you see lag in the Twitter video, that is actually in the essay. I'm not sure why exactly that happens. I'd have to imagine it either has something to do with the fact that you know, either they just didn't put in enough like frames into it, or it's something with the way that the code is running, or a lot of the time I feel like it's the sort of thing where like the game is 9 years old, right? They're running the game off of like 9-year-old code. And so, you know, when it comes to that, right, obviously when they're trying to push the game to its limits in terms of the quality of some of this stuff, they can only go so far, right? Like if you remember the part of Toppo's transformation where he has like the yellow like light in the back of him, right? That asset for Toppo looks like blurry, right, when he's standing there, but that's because like they can't actually like display it at a good enough quality because of how old the game is and how it works, right? Like it just unfortunately is a little bit held back by, you know, the base that what makes up the game. But overall though, I really, really like his animations. I think they're very good. I was very impressed with the quality of them. And I think the thing that really makes me so happy about them too is that when it comes down to this, like for the units kit and the animations, right? I think it is really cool. And I don't want to say like more important because I don't know if that's fair to say, but I think it's almost more important for characters like this to get good animations and a good kit, because this is the type of character that's like, when are we ever going to get a God of Destruction Toppo again?
Yeah.
Like maybe he has hope for an LR in like 5 or 6 years or something like that, right? Like, you know, if he comes back in Dragon Ball Super and we get to see him whip out the God of Destruction form again, and then he has a couple more things to work with, or they do some what if shenanigans, you know, like maybe, or yo, you know, it'd be sick though, a Jiren and Toppo card with both their final forms. That would be dope. But
Yeah, that'd be
cool, yeah.
But with that being said, right, because of the fact that, you know, this guy is just a character that will probably not get any love in Dokkan anytime soon again, I think it's a very good thing that they really did this guy. Ironically enough, they did him justice. Yuck, yuck, yuck. You know, because obviously he's a character that will probably not, you know, be getting any crazy love again for a long time. So I think that that's awesome, because, you know, it's like with characters like, you know, Goku and Vegeta, it's like they'll get cards like every other Tuesday, bro. Like I'm not worried if Goku and Vegeta have a couple of, you know, like a couple of ones that aren't bangers. You know, when it comes to these guys, if it's a character that, you know, is just, especially one that's like, because think about it like this too, it's like, you know, with a character like Rose, you know, even though Rose only appeared for one arc, and he does have a lot more stuff to work with than a character like Toppo, realistically speaking, obviously he doesn't have as much to work with as a character like this, but he'll still get more stuff than a character like this will. So even with like Rose, as much as it stunk to see his animations kind of be a little bit, Minato, could tell you all about his kit for a whole podcast episode. I think it's just cool that even so, obviously he'll get another unit eventually, and this guy probably won't. So yeah, I'm honestly really, really satisfied with the way that this guy turned out, bro. Even his OSTs, they slap, bro. The intro they're really good. The intro is like jazz. Right, which I was like, why? But I'm so down.
It reminds me of like the Hit Fighters OST where that's like jazz as well.
Yeah,
saxophone. I was like, oh.
It was so funny. Like a bunch of the comments on like when I posted the OST, people were like, "Bro, some Marvel versus Capcom." We have some Bayonetta comments in there. It's always so funny seeing the things that people compare it to. But yeah, they did a good job with it. They also did the funny chorus again, where they had like the chorus in the background going oh for like the intensity of the OST. I saw someone make a comment about it on Twitter, and it was like kind of funny, and I'm like, low key they're kind of right, where they were like, yeah, I swear that like the chorus in the background of these OSTs is like the modern day equivalent to like the guitar in Dokkan, because like I swear like
there's so much chorus now.
Right, for some like they must have hired like some like chorus for like music, and they're like, all right, we have to get our money's worth out of these guys. Put them in every OST possible that we can shove them into. Throw them in there now. But yeah, so regardless though, I think they did a very good job with Toppo overall. I'm very satisfied with his release. I will definitely be throwing a couple of multis on this guy's banner for sure. Hopefully the banner is actually good. It'll be interesting to see what actually becomes of it. And I hope as well, right, the one final thing I'll say about Toppo himself is that I do hope that throughout like the coming months and year, they release more Universe 11 characters, right? Because obviously he can work on like Tournament of Power stuff, but I think the thing that kind of was the whole original problem with a lot of these Universe 11 characters is they have like a team that they can work with. I mean, obviously it's not like even relevant to the meta now, but they have like a team that they can work with, but it's like literally 6 characters that you can use on the team, right? For like the original build of like the full Universe 6 team, Universe 6 team, 11 Universe 11 characters. There was only 6 characters from Universe 11.
Yeah, there's only obviously some of them have the same names, but I think I looked like on the wiki when we got the Toppo teaser and like went to the Universe 11 category. There's like 7 TURs. And some of them are units like obviously Dispo and like the original Toppo, and then there's the free to play like Casserole guy, and like one of them's Marcaria, who's obviously not even part of the actual like the I've forgotten what they're even called now, the Pride Troopers. So yeah, Universe 11 is got to be by far the worst category in the game. It's definitely the smallest one.
So
just wait until after the celebration, it's gonna pop off.
I hope so, right? I hope so, right?
We should talk about EZA.
Yes, I was just gonna say we have another unit that is obviously coming out with Toppo. That of course gotta shout out the boy Toon Rami as per usual. He's been fiending for this Dokkan Fest, and obviously now we have him as a side banner unit. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce this dude's name because I like every time I say it I butcher it. So I'm just gonna call this guy the Common Rider.
Kato.
Yeah, Kato.
See, you can't even say it right.
Literally,
I always trip over my words.
Yeah, I copied his name from the post when I put the image in the actual like OBS. So on the image, I spelled his name wrong. Kato Pesla.
Yeah, Kato Pesla.
But in the overlay, because in the outline for the episode, while I was quickly jotting down some notes, I couldn't be bothered to look back up where it was. So the notes literally say Kato, whatever his name is, because I don't remember what this guy's name is.
Like, let's just shorten his name. Call him Kato-kun.
There you go. I mean, yeah, basically, like, he is essentially the Common Rider, like meme of the what do you
Power
call it, of the
Ranger.
Tournament of Power. Yeah, he's like Power Rangers, Toku Sentai, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
But I know people have also been calling this guy Pepsi Man, which I see in the comments as well, which is hilarious.
saw
I
that.
love Pepsi Man
This
too.
man is great.
It's great. So very, very excited. I know people have been wanting this guy as a unit in the game for a little while too. He is pretty cool, right? And obviously he was pretty memorable from the Tournament of Power, I feel like, just because of the fact that, he's so like wacky and wild, and obviously have the whole like, Henshin transformation type of thing, right? That he was just a memorable character, even if he wasn't really there for, like a really long time. I mean, he was in like maybe 2 episodes.
One of the only things I remember, isn't he the one that a character that like Vegeta is like trying to get Ultra Instinct himself, so he's like he lets this guy hit him a bunch of times.
Yeah,
That
that is exactly what happens, which is really funny. And then this guy gets washed as well. So it is pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I'm glad that they included him. Because obviously, it seems like he's a character. Like, it is cool, I will say, from the perspective of like, I swear Dokkan has like seen a lot of these things that as a community we've been like, yeah, we really want this as a character, right? Even if it's like not like a joke, but it's kind of like only like, it's not like if like we didn't get this guy, people would be like, oh no, the worst has come to pass. We didn't get the funny Kamen Rider as a card in the game. But it is pretty cool that like, it feels like that they definitely are like, just kind of listening to what the community wants in the form of like, oh yeah, people wanted this card and this would make a perfect card for a side banner unit, right? Like, I think he is perfect for that role. So I think it's cool that, they even like bothered to just include him in there anyway. But I will say for his animations as well, man, they also did a really good job with these. I'm not gonna lie. I'll keep this shorter than Toppo, but man, they actually cooked pretty hard with these. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I looked at these and I was like, wait, these are really good. What? I was like kind of shocked because sometimes the side banner units are really like hit or miss when it comes to these. So I was very glad to see that they actually cooked pretty well with these. And not to mention, if you look at like the comparison to the anime, yeah, they basically got it spot on. So I thought that was pretty cool. The one thing that was interesting is that for his TUR, right? Because obviously the TUR, he has the purple form and then he transitions into the yellow form, like in the animation. It is kind of funny because in the anime, he transitions from a different color. I believe it's blue to yellow rather than purple to yellow. So it's interesting that Dokkan like change that, because it's like such like an insignificant thing that like I feel like it, like why would they even bother, and not to mention what's so funny about it is that the blue form is his SSR. So maybe they just did it because then like in the SSR version he goes from like the blue form to the purple form, right? And then obviously in the like TUR one, in the actual like thing, well, yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. It just seems like such a strange decision to me. I don't know.
He has different forms though. Like that's why.
Yeah, he does have many different forms, but it's kind of funny that they like just decided to change the one that was in the animation, like in his TUR.
Like the
I don't know.
animation that the source they took the animation from, he was different colors.
Yeah, so
it happens, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's nothing crazy, but I just thought it was interesting because I was like, man, like, why would they put in the extra effort? You know what I mean? I was thinking, like, bro, like, give the homies at Bandai a break, bro. Just like, let them copy what's there. You don't need to change nothing. But either way, though, they did a very good job with this guy. I'm very glad that he's in the game. I do hope that we get more like, kind of like side characters like this, because I think that they are perfect for introducing as like something more than just a free to play unit, but also obviously not to the same like tier as a Dokkan Fest unit. So I think a character like this is perfect for that. What do you boys think about what he does though? I've actually heard not a single soul talk about this guy, so I actually have no idea what he does.
he's very gimmicky.
Yeah, he's weird.
So it's like
Okay.
basically on the odd number turns up until turn 9, he changes keys STR to AGL key spheres. He does 2 attacks, I believe, with a high chance to be super, and then I think he has a high chance to dodge. Then with each AGL key sphere, he gets 30% defense up to 300%. I think that's how his kit works, more or less, right?
I think so. I'm looking at it now because it is very confusing.
Yeah. So like that's what happens on the odd turns. Then on the even turns, which is turn 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, right? What happens there is that's kind of the opposite, where he changes AGL to STR. I think he has a great chance to launch an additional super, a great chance to crit. Then he gets 30% attack per STR key sphere obtained. That goes up to 300%, right? So depending on the turn you're on, he does different things. Then what happens on the 7th turn, specifically the 7th turn onward, once only he changes all the key spheres. He changes STR and AGL, I think, to tech key spheres. Then he gets 30% attack and defense per tech key sphere on that just for the rest of the battle, but you're going to be wanting to grab the AGL and STR and those other turns, right? So that's how he's working based on what I saw.
Interesting.
And yeah, it's kind of weird. He gets attack and defense on super as well, of course, but he's just very gimmicky in that scenario. And that's where I'm like, I think it's a cool design. It's like interesting, but I don't know. I'm because he only gets a 33% attack and defense on super, even though he has a 50% attack defense. 50%. I can't speak. Even though he has a 50% defense on super attack, I'm not sure how good it's gonna be in terms of stats.
Gotcha. Bless you, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a weird one because his for a side banner unit, it's kind of interesting that they tried doing something different, but I could see it being one of those unless you really like this character, which I don't, some people think he's a meme, funny meme and stuff like that, but I feel like he's one of those characters that if you're not using him a lot, you kind of if you end up throwing him on a team for a mission or something, you're never going to remember what he does because it's so
True.
although it's odd number turns he gets one buff, even number turns he gets a different buff. So depending what turn you start on or what rotation he starts in, it's something you obviously have to keep track of. It's an interesting design. I guess it's cool to see them try different things, but it definitely is one of those things that struck me when we first saw the translation for it. It was just what?
One thing I do want to say that I hate is that he has 6 links.
Yeah, and what is that as well? Yeah,
people have been going crazy about that.
Like, you could have given him something, anything. Give him tough as nails so you can link with Toppo better.
Yeah. Plus, he's got links like Speedy Retribution. What even is that?
That's the first link I saw.
The GoPro, what?
That's like a Birder, Jace link, and then some other characters that are random. But that's the first thing I saw, and I'm like, why? It gives.
Yeah, it is a really strange choice.
It's just I hate that link so much.
Why do you think that they did that? Genuinely.
I don't know. They literally, I guess they just couldn't think of links to apply to this character. I'm gonna post in our chat the characters that have Speedy Retribution.
Oh boy.
That's everyone who has Speedy Retribution.
Yikes! Basically Yamcha, GT Trunks, Birder, and some Gohan.
And
2 Tournament of Power Gohans and Dispo, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
specifically the Gohan with the Joint Forces Gohans.
Okay, wait, so it's Dragon Ball Yamcha specific and that baseball. Wait, no, that's the Universe 6 for 7 Yamcha.
It's just a lot of Yamchas.
What? Wait,
Yamchas.
That's so weird.
It's random.
Okay.
It's a super random link.
Also, dead Yamcha definitely does not have a Speedy Retribution, but
Why not give him tough as nails?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Or metamorphosis or something maybe because of the.
Metamorphosis would have been.
Yeah. It's not that kind of because metamorphosis normally means some sort of biological,
cooler type of transformation.
The same thing, but anything, just give him any other link. There's so many links in the game. Just give him something.
Something.
They could have. I don't know.
Better than nothing.
Because even if it was, there's one of those funny things. It's even if he had a link that he would barely share with anybody else on the team, it would still be less egregious than him not having a 7th link, right? Because even if he had something weird, because he's got that speed mode, I know is one of his transformations. And he has shocking speed. If you can't think of any other link, just give him over in a flash or something. I mean, just anything. But yeah, very, very strange. I don't know why they should not be releasing brand new units now with only 6 links, especially when they've shown with the ones that we've gotten so far that even when they EZA those characters, they don't give them like an extra link. So he's just going to have 6 links forever. So just a very, very odd choice. But...
yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. Oh, well. Nope, that's that. That's the only thing I wanted to really say. 6 links, so awful. God, I hate 6 links. Why?
Imagine, they release a Dokkan Fest with only 6 links. That'd be wild.
Dokkan is muted. Is he? Am I crazy?
I'm sorry, I did mute myself. I was drinking my smoothie.
I saw you like yapping to yourself. I'm like, are you muted?
Bro, yapping. Yeah, no, I was yapping.
You're like this. You're like this.
That's right. I was looking at the chat. I didn't look at the cameras because there was a second. Then I was like, no one's saying anything.
Yeah,
you need to edit in
the. Was supposed to say something, but
bro, edit in the.
That's why I presume would have said something.
The talking from the Charlie Brown teacher. The wah, 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 wah. But anyhow, yeah, no, like I don't know. It's so weird to me because it's the type of thing where I wonder, like, is it really just they like couldn't think of anything? Because that sounds like too easy of an answer, you know? Like I swear it had like they have to have like some shenanigans at the studio or something, man. Like I don't know. It feels like it's like we always say that it's just like, you know, oh yeah, you know, they couldn't think of it or they were lazy, but like maybe I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt that there's some good reason why they decided to do it. And I'm like, you know, just completely wrong and they're just dinguses. Like, that's entirely possible. But, like, I don't know. I would just like to hope that they were like, yeah, this guy, he needs to have 6 links because this or that and the other reason. These people just don't see the vision, even though I know that's not true. But that's what I would like to think. But anyway.
If there's, like, some secret, like, thing where it's, like, characters, there are certain links that like certain characters they're not allowed to have like certain links.
That's what I'm saying.
Could only have 6. It's like that weird thing, just as a side tangent, it's like that weird thing where in almost every single instance only Saiyan characters, or sometimes like Goku Black, who isn't technically a Saiyan, like gets away with it, has prepared for battle, except for when they released that Pycon as a global first, the STR, he had prepared for battle, and then when he released on JP, he was in and didn't have prepared for battle. It's like very, very random. It's like certain links, like certain characters just not allowed to have, even if it would make them better for the teams that they're on, which is very strange.
Bro, I'm telling you, one of the global devs snuck that in. He knew the rules. He broke them that day just so that guy could be a little bit better. He's like
the biggest Pycon fan. He's like, I want to run this Pycon with my STR Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So goddamn it, I'm giving him prepared for battle for Super STR.
Everything about his kit. He was like make him STR and give him prepared for battle.
That was back when, like, obviously Super Saiyan 4 Goku was still one of the best units in the game, and like Super STR was just such a goat team. And then that Pycon came out as a global first with prepared for battle. It was like, hell yeah.
Optimal.
the goat.
Y'all remember Optimal?
Yeah.
Optimal. Of course.
Optimal. Oh my goodness. That was fun. Good times.
Yes, sir. But yeah, so that is basically everything for Toppo himself. Obviously, we just got the reveal of the characters, so we do not know the full celebration details yet. So obviously, when that comes to pass, we will talk about that next week on the podcast if we get any funny shenanigans about that. It is kind of interesting, I will say, the one thing regarding Toppo himself, before we move on to what we have next. So I guess technically 2 things about Toppo. For one, I will say it is kind of interesting that they did this again. They've done this a couple times now, but they did this again where for some reason they put out the teaser and the unit's kit on the same day.
So the reason why is because the data download. We know they don't do data downloads on the weekends. So they had that data download the day before the weekend. And since they don't I assume maybe they don't work on the weekends or something. We don't know. But if that's the case, we obviously have seen them not do data downloads on the weekend unless it's like anniversary and
right.
But besides that, I guess they didn't want to put the teaser for the Dokkan Fest so early because even then Toppo still doesn't release for like
it's the 31st, yeah.
Like
that he comes out.
Yeah, basically how long? He's still 2 days and 7 hours away from right now.
Yeah.
So that's a long time, by the way. And also he releases early. Like I don't know if you guys noticed.
Yeah, I was gonna say because isn't the normal JP
5
banner
hours
time
early?
Yeah, the normal JP banner time's like 12 hours or so from now, isn't it? That banners normally drop. That's crazy.
Yeah, he releases. Yeah, it's literally 5 hours earlier because it's 8 p.m. Pacific time now, or it would usually be 1 a.m. Pacific time, 5 hours later. So I don't know why. I mean, if that's the new banner time for some unknown reason, that's a great time for me.
Not for me. Because here's me over here hoping. Yeah, here's 10 PM. Here's me over here hoping that when we sync, all of the events are going to change to JP time because it's later in the morning for me, so I don't have to get up as early. And now here they are potentially changing it, making it even earlier than it already is.
Bro, you're the only person that I know, just because you live in the UK, who's like, please make it the JP time. Like, all my homies who play Global are like, God, I really hope we don't transition to these awful JP times.
Dude, because it goes from the banners release at 6:30 a.m. on Global for me currently, whereas if we change to JP time, it's 8 a.m. So your boy gets I like the JP time in bed.
I personally love the JP times because I can't sleep.
Yeah, I think they're good. But then again, that's also because I'm a night owl and I'm awake for it. But
yeah, exactly.
I will say though, the thing about that is you are right about the whole thing with the weekend. But like it just makes me wonder, like, why not just like schedule the posts to go up in game earlier then? Well, you know what I mean?
Like I said, they probably didn't want to put the teaser so early. You know what I mean? I think to be fair, they could have put the teaser when they announced the Super Battle stages. Like I don't think that's a problem. But
yeah,
I guess in their minds, they because I remember when Tech Bardock, his Dokkan Fest teaser came out like 5-6 days before his release. Maybe they got bad feedback from that. Who knows, right? But I think I prefer that they drop the teaser and the info on the same night. Well, do I? Because that means that I could make like a for me, I guess as a creator, like videos are like speculation. So like I could make a whole concept and then that's a free extra video. But it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it's more exciting personally from what I've seen when like because the usual schedule, right, is that they drop the teaser like 2 days before the actual like units kit, and then they drop the units kit and animations on Twitter, and then like the next day or so, right, there's the data download. And I don't know, I feel like it just like drums up a little bit more excitement because I feel like that like gap between the teaser and the actual release of the units kit
a little.
Yeah, exactly, right? That little bit of time kind of helps people get excited, and it's just enough for people to still be excited and not lose interest, right? So then when the time finally comes, people are like, oh, I need to see what he's gonna do.
Because so I don't know, I just one day, you know?
Right, exactly.
Compared to like when they drop teasers and then it's like we wait for like 5 days.
Right, like then it's like, dog, just get it over with. I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
You know, dude, that was like, oh my gosh. I know it's not exactly the same. I won't go on this tangent for long, I swear. But remember that whole time we were waiting for LR Janemba, bro? That was so rough.
That was funny.
Oh my gosh.
That just reminds me, just like all the times at the gotcha. It's so fun.
Dude, I was just gonna say that, man. It's so funny because I remember sitting in BC with this man, and it's so funny because he'd always, whenever he'd come in, he'd like talk to me. He'd be like, Dokkan assets, like say that as his introduction. He'd be like, Dokkan assets. I don't even care about Janemba anymore. He's like, I don't even care when he comes out. I just want to get this dang video done. I hate Dokkan Battle.
I remember every night it was like tonight's the night.
Yeah, dude, every night we would be sitting in VC like tonight's the night, bro. We would literally be sitting there till 3, 4 a.m. coping. You know how it's the usual, like,
Yeah,
whenever
it was that one time that LR attacked Jiren last year. Remember, because the year before he dropped, like I think it was 2 or 3 hours after the usual time.
Mhm.
So that's why we all were staying up so late, because
Yep.
it was like, oh, it's not this hour, but what if he drops 2 hours later?
Right.
Like,
Exactly. That's like it's so funny because that was what we were doing for Janemba every time. It was like the copium of like, oh, okay, well, you know, he didn't drop this hour, but you know, maybe 2 a.m., maybe 3 a.m., maybe 4 a.m. Oh man, that was good times. But
good times, man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
anyhow, yeah, so very, very interesting on that front. Yeah, the other thing that I was actually going to mention about this, we'll talk about it a little bit later because it'll kind of be in coherence. Actually, no, we'll talk about it now. So I changed my mind.
Okay.
So the EZA, right, and obviously part 2 LR potential for Jiren are pretty cool options that we have on the table for this, right? Talking about the EZA first, right, because that one I feel, well, I mean, I think they both might be honestly a little bit like obvious, kinda. But I will say, I'm sure that, and I'll, you know, you guys definitely tell me what you think as well that your, you know, like EZA predictions are for this one. But I mean, like, I feel like it has to be LR Jiren, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's no way that it's not Tech LR Jiren. He needs it really bad,
I hope
and
so.
obviously,
No, for an EZA. I thought you meant a new LR. I was like,
yeah, EZA, yeah,
or EZA.
EZA.
No, yeah. Well, I think there are a couple possibilities, but I think
Yeah.
Tech LR Jiren, like, for sure. Like, you know,
Yeah. What do you think? What else? What else would you have as a pick?
I mean, what they could do is he's Defenders of Justice. I see the character right next to him is Tech Gohan, who's Defenders of
True.
Justice. It would be really funny. I
That
don't
would be
think they're
funny.
gonna
I'm not
EZA
gonna
him.
lie.
That'd be crazy. I think Tech LR Jiren. What they should do, in my opinion, is they should also EZA the Toppo and the Pride Troopers that came out with them. We've seen that, you know,
Oh,
with
yeah.
characters
Yeah,
that
the
like
intro,
have
yeah.
like, especially characters that have released with LRs. What they have been doing is they've been giving them just like sub EZAs like through other medals. We just saw that with the N16 and the AGL Soul Juniors.
Yeah.
So like what they could do is they can make him get an awakening from the Toppo, like the original Toppo and Dispo like Extreme Z battle, where it's like the old banner unit ones.
Yeah, or even STR Jiren or something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
STR Jiren could work as well. Like something
Yeah.
like that, I think would be really, really cool. And that
Definitely.
would allowing them to EZA would be really helpful for the new Toppo because they share 6 links. They'd be a great partnership together. It could be a really interesting rotation, I think, for sure. So that could be cool. Who else for an EZA? I mean, I don't know. I really want those Universe 6 EZAs so bad at GP because that would help this team a lot. I feel like having
True.
like STR Kefla because
Yeah.
Toppo's a rainbow orb changer, so he will create orbs for STR Kefla. Like that's pretty good. But I don't know from there, like from Universe 11, like
There's barely. I looked at that list again when I looked at like the Universe 11 category itself.
Yeah,
and
there's not
there's
a
literally
lot, right?
there's literally LR Jiren, the Toppo like Pride Troopers, and then Margarita. They're like the only Universe 11 characters that don't
Margarita,
have EZAs,
yeah.
and that's it.
Margarita's gonna EZA like in that Pepe Gal's time frame. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
Yeah, so I don't know because we know they're not going to be giving super EZAs to ban units. At least so far, they never said it. But imagine if they came out and they're like, "Yeah, we're actually going to super EZA AGL Dispo and then STR God Topo."
That would be crazy.
That'd be sick. But it's like they're saying that they're only planning on it for Dokkan Fest and LRs unless they lie to us. Like, yeah, we lied.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time.
I mean,
but
man, that would
to
be
be fair.
so good to super EZA those two characters though. Like,
it would be. I mean, to be fair though, I feel like when that happens, I don't know if it's I don't think it's as much of like, oh, they lied to us, as more as it's just like decisions changed behind
Maybe
the
they did.
scenes.
What if they do change their mind and they're like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna do this instead.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
possible. I mean, they could definitely. I mean, like,
I mean,
I know when it
being
comes to
fair,
that sort of stuff,
remember
we
during
give them
the
community feedback.
sorry about
So,
that. During the
fine.
8th anniversary fan meetup, they're like, didn't they say they had no plans for sync? And then
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
was
they're like-
another thing where they're like they like lied, but like it's the type of
it
thing
wasn't
where I
a
feel like
lie, but it's like
right. It's
Yeah.
not like they're lying. It's more just like things changed behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
or they just changed their mind, right? I mean, it's like we even knew that Super EZA is like, well, not that we didn't know they were going to be a thing, but like they said, yeah, we have no plans to make EZA 2, and then literally like the
Yeah.
next meetup, surprise, so like
Mhm.
stuff changes,
really cool, right? I think it's nice that they listen to the feedback, at least at the bare minimum from the JP player base, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They could awaken that tech Jiren from the Dokkan event and then use him maybe. But
They
like,
should. That boy has been in the dirt for literally years.
Yeah.
I mean, what? I guess from there we'll have to look into Universe Survival Saga, basically, right? Or like Defenders
Yeah.
of Justice, because like again, keep in mind this Defenders of Justice and Special Pose is like a big thing. What if they easy into Go Tanks? Like
That would be wild.
Yeah.
they're like, yeah,
That
in
would be
Gotenks,
so
Special
wild.
Pose EZA or something weird, right?
That would be so
So,
wild.
interestingly, Talos did say in the chat the physical Angel Freezer, because obviously he fights Toppo.
Oh,
and
he-
Vertigo at some point.
EZA,
Yeah.
huh?
He
Physical Angel
doesn't
Freezer.
have one. That's true. I forgot
guess
about
they
that.
could do that, right? But I don't know. They might save him for like some other celebration, I guess. But it makes sense because he did fight. Man, if he's over Jiren, like
Yeah, that would be
I
awkward.
feel like it's awkward, but that would tell me like we're getting a
Awkward.
Jiren soon. Like that tells me
Right.
like we're getting a Jiren soon or something related
Right.
to Jiren. Because like why
Yeah.
would they hold on to him for that situation? So that Angel Golden Frieza, I guess he could get an Extreme Z Awakening.
Yeah.
Could be interesting. For sub EZAs, we could see what are they called? Didn't remember those free to play 17 and 18 from what celebration was it? It wasn't Android celebration. Where they awakened the
Oh, I know what you're
free-to-play
talking about. Yeah.
17. Yeah, that was during the Tournament Power Androids, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
They awakened that int free to play 17 and the AGL free to play 18. Maybe they could get an EZA. Maybe we can get the tech ones to EZA. They came out like a long time ago. But yeah, that's just a couple of characters I've been throwing out there that aren't just like main EZs, but like sub EZs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
I
interesting.
definitely think those are good options. I mean, the nice thing is with the sub EZAs is that obviously we could still get those even with the main EZA there, right? So that is also pretty cool.
Being fair, like even if Tech Journey isn't shown to EZA in part 1, there's still technically like a second half of the month
Right.
where we can get something related to that. right?
Exactly.
Maybe he could EZA with that instead.
Yeah,
Possible.
definitely. Which, ironic that you say that for a second half of the month, there is a possibility, transition, for a part 2 LR, right? Obviously, this is one of those celebrations where the time slot is definitely there for it.
Yeah.
And I know, because I want to also hear, Ningen, I'll throw it over to you after I say the thing that I'm going to say. I know that obviously there is a big elephant in the room when it comes to a part 2 LR, but I am curious to hear if you guys have any other opinions as to what it could be. Obviously, for said elephant in the room, though, obviously a lot of people are thinking it is going to be a part 2 LR Kefla. And the reason why people are thinking that is because obviously on Global's release of the Kefla EZA, they actually had the wrong art for Kefla
Yeah.
on the EZA banner, right? For her card art. A lot of people noticed it, saved the art, picked it up, and then Dokkan was like, oops, sorry, and then they changed it later, right? Because obviously they realized they goofed. So, we don't know if that asset is, something that is basically like, you know, for an upcoming card, or if that is for you know, like just something that was like maybe unused, or you know, what the case may be for what that exactly is. But obviously people, you know, are very heavily speculating the fact that that could be a part 2 LR Kefla, which I think is definitely a very like big possibility, right? Like definitely would make sense. And I think that honestly, I feel like Kefla deserves an LR anyway, and I think that that would probably be a good way as well to like round out all of the like Kefla units that we have in like Kale and Caulifla, because like we have a lot, like surprisingly enough, there is a lot of Kale and Caulifla love in Dokkan. Like they have quite a few cards, especially compared to some other characters that you would think that would have more.
Yeah.
Like all of their forms are represented in some form or fashion. There's multiple cards of, you know, some of each of their forms. There's cards of them together. You know, we have cards of them both fusing into Kefla. We have just Kefla. Like, you know, there's a lot of representation for the character. They really love Kefla over there at Akatsuki. But I think that like an LR Kefla would honestly be like the perfect way to kind of be like, all right, I think, you know, we have all of the, you know, Kale, Caulifla, Kefla cards in the game that we need. So an LR would be a good way to, you know, kind of like, I was going to say kick that off, but that would imply starting it. That would be a good way to kind of like, you know, really complete everything that we have in the game, especially now with, you know, those Universe 6 EZAs being really good. But obviously, there is still some other opportunities for some Part 2 LRs that aren't necessarily Kefla related. So, Ningen, what do you think that we could potentially see when it comes to other options for Part 2 LRs?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like just to add on to that, I think Kefla is a very likely possibility based on that thing that we saw, or just in general. It'd be interesting to get. It's just strange the way they split everything up though, because of course if we're assuming that JP is going to get those Universe 6 EZAs still as part of the Rosé celebration when he eventually comes to JP, of course we have no idea when that's going to be. So if they release an LR Kefla now, there are other teams and things that you could use her on, but for like the Universe 6 team or Kale or anything like that in particular, her team will still be like almost unrunnable, I would imagine, unless Kefla was an absolute beast, slot 1 tank or something. But yeah, new Kefla would be interesting. The only thing I find strange, I mean, it could just be the SSR, and then she doesn't look like that when she's fully awakened into an LR. But ideally, we wouldn't want her to start off as a base Kefla because, of course, having the STR1 EZA, right? Like, ideally, she starts off as Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan 2. But yeah, I think that would be quite cool. In terms of a different Part 2 LR, I did see some suggestions of things like Jiren, Toppo, and Dispo like together as like a project
that'd be
LR.
cool.
That would be kind of cool. And then, of course, the one thing that I think is based on last year and the good old Kale. Of course, you know, Kale, Tournament of Power character comes out, and then the Part 2 LR was Super Boo. So I'm calling it Part 2 LR, finally getting LR Kid Boo. Completely unrelated, but they're going to do it again. It's going to be another Boo LR that isn't related to the Part 1 unit.
Honestly, like, you know, that is as crazy it is to say, and obviously I know as a community we've all been speculating stuff that would be related. That is like really, really possible. It could just literally be completely not even anything related to Toppo. So honestly, like I could see it, right? Like they could just do something on left field. Bro, maybe this is when they implement like LR Go tanks that people have been wanting forever.
Stop stealing my ideas, dude.
All right, we'll go for it. I'll throw it over to you.
Okay, so my thing is, I think that while it could be Kefla, I think people are taking the asset thing a little too far. Like, sure, it's a new asset, but remember during the 8th anniversary, we saw that new Namek Goku asset, and then they did nothing with it. I think while it could hint towards new card, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could be a new asset,
for sure.
It could be a new asset they made, for something. I don't know what. But I think that it's definitely LR Kefla is likely. Another thing that's likely is I think again a lot of people are going into Tournament of Power, which is fair, but keep in mind this could be also like Defenders of Justice special pose situation. So
yeah,
if we go in that route, right? Yeah, I was gonna say in like a new LR Saiman 1 and 2, then maybe they could easy like STR Videl in part 2, or they could easy take Gohan in part 2, right? And then have like a LR Saiyaman 1 and 2 kind of thing. You know, it makes sense. We're getting a lot of people are speculating the April Fool's Day unit will be a Super Saiyan Hercule. So that's another thing. Is Hercule on Defenders of Justice? I don't think he is, to be fair, but
I don't think so.
What justice is my boy defending his own?
he's not on Defenders of Justice, but it's like a kind of thing where it's Videl, Hercule, and then there's Gohan.
Yeah, Videl is the justice-filled one for sure.
Yeah, Videl. I mean, easy Videl would be crazy, right? If they do go ahead and something like that, because Videl does get her unit super attack with like Gohan Great Saiyaman cards, so another Great Saiyaman could be really cool. Another thing is, again, if they go down the special pose route, remember I did bring him in Gotenks earlier, but we can finally get LR Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks Yellow Coin LR.
That would be
last
cool.
year we got Super Buu in this time frame, so Super Buu 2 Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks that fought against each other.
That would be cool.
For both of the April Part 2 LRs, right? And then again, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. Gotenks doesn't even have an LR, right?
He doesn't somehow, honestly.
So a new LR Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, I think, would be cool, right?
I think so.
I think I would like for him to be a Dokkan Fest LR. Realistically, he will likely just end up being a Yellow Coin LR or at most a Carnival.
Yeah.
So I think that at the very least, the Yellow Coin LRs could still be really good, and he would have pity as well, so that could be cool.
Right.
We know we are going to get a Part 2 LR. Keep that in mind. Well, 99%. So again, pity would be nice there. And with the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, they could easy in Gotenks and exchange. We potentially imagine both of them getting EZAs. Exchange with EZA would be a follow-up to, again, the physical Buhan getting an EZA could be added to his team. The Artificial Life Forms mission. Gotenks would be an addition to Toppo's team, a special pose. And maybe they could do that. That could be interesting. And again, I know a lot of people are excited for the in Gotenks and exchange with EZAs. So even if they do have a Majin Buu Saga celebration planned out, there's so many Majin Buu Saga EZs to get to that it's they could they're probably not going to get all of them in one celebration.
Yeah, they can sprinkle them a little bit
or something, so they could sprinkle some around.
Yeah,
and I think that could be really cool, like a Part 2 Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks there. And I'd be down for that. I'd be really, really down for that. I think Gotenks deserve something. But besides that, I don't really have any other ideas that pop up.
How did I forget? We talked about it on the stream this morning, funnily enough. The LR Trio de Dangers. That would be an interesting one.
Honestly,
his EZA. Yeah.
You know what makes me frustrated is that they're not in Super Bosses. So I'm like,
wait, what?
They're not? Interesting.
Nope. Bergamo's not in Super Bosses.
Huh.
That's weird.
I don't know why. He should be.
Interesting.
He's not, so.
He should. I guess.
Kata Pesla, where is he on there?
Nope.
Oh, that's weird. So.
I don't know. I feel like it doesn't make sense that he's not on Super Bosses when Toppo, Universe 2 Girls.
Yeah.
Well, I guess specifically,
how I was gonna say, because if Rosie and Kakunsa were on there, the solo cards, that but they're not. That'd be weird.
Rosie and Kakunsa are not on there, but just Ribrianna. Then I guess they decided to throw LR, Ribrianna, Kakunsa, Rosie just because it's Ribrianna's in there.
Weird.
It's weird.
That is weird. I guess it's the major players, but as we know, Dokkan categories are very sneaky.
Yeah.
So
maybe they're on there because the Ribrianna Giant Form active skill. That's why she's on Super Bosses, the trio card, because that's just Ribrianna by herself, and they kind of count these giant forms, their categories and stuff. I don't know.
Weird.
It's weird. But
Dokkan's a funny game.
Dokkan's just so weird. It's I don't know.
But Trio de Dangers would be good. Even to be fair, we said about the potential for
work, but it also doesn't do anything with Toppo's intro. I think if they're gonna do something related to Turn of Power Toppo, they would want to get something that would benefit his.
That's what I feel like we could see. Obviously something completely different, like Boo is a big jump to the extreme. But remember that I think when Super Boo came out as the Part 2 LR for Kale, he was technically on her team, right? Because one of her leader skills was Transformation Boost. So even if they brought out the Trio de Dangers, or even we said about him being possibly the EZA, but it's a lot less likely. Even an LR Tournament of Power like Angel Freezer, he'd be on the tournament participants part of Toppo's leader skill. So he's not completely unrelated, but That's one of those things.
What
It's just hard to guess because the Part 2 LR, because of that KO into
Right.
Super Boo situation, there is a little part of it that's like it could just be anything. Like,
I think there's one last thing. I'm surprised like none of you guys have brought up just yet. I was gonna bring it up, but we could get an LR Jiren Pride Troopers. So like, hold on,
all of them.
Yeah, let me post.
I said Jiren, Toppo, and Dispo, but because I imagine they.
Did you? I
Yeah.
didn't hear you say
Yeah,
that.
he did. Yeah.
Sorry, but I'm saying like, take a look at this right here. I'm gonna put in our chat.
I think I know the thing you're talking about, right? It's the thing where it's like all of them together, yeah.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Because it's got all the random dudes in the back as well. That I don't even know half their names.
It is kind of funny actually that you say that because I don't know if. Let me find the comparison. I don't know if you know this, but ironically enough, they removed the Pride Troopers from Toppo's animation.
All right.
Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, dude, that card with the like the blue fire, that would be so sick as a trio card with like that art and having like the blue flames in the background, dude. Oh my gosh, that card art would go nuts.
I'm just looking at the tweet I put in there, and it's like, like imagine the first part is the card art, and then like if like fires start coming up
or something,
and then like the card art changes into that. Maybe it could even be like
that would be cool,
like a transformation, like mechanic kind of thing, or like in a exchange mechanic where it's like eventually they all get knocked out, and then it goes into Toppo, Jiren, and Dispo. Oh, that could be
that's true. That'd be cool. Yeah, I was talking about how it is kind of funny in Toppo's like animation that they referenced that all of the Pride Troopers are there in the scene that they use for his intro, but for his intro it's just him.
That's weird. I thought that was from the I thought that reference was from when you fought Goku, so that's weird. It doesn't look the same.
Yeah, well, it's the pose is not the same, but if you look at the smoke in the background, funny enough, what they did is they took the shape of all of the colors. If you combined them all, like if you literally like basically made the red and green ones blue and combined it all, they made it into one big smoke glass. That's pretty cool. But either way, I just thought it was funny that they removed everybody.
Yeah.
So either way, though, I think that would be another good idea for like a Tournament of Power card as well, having all of them. I mean, dude, realistically, even though obviously like some of them would easily be more popular than other ones, right? Like no one cares about like the stinky universes who got knocked out in the first like literal 5 seconds of the TOP. But like realistically, like they could make a like full universe card for every universe in the Tournament of Power. I don't think they'd ever do it, but it's a possibility, right? That they could easily just make a card based on every single one of the based on every single one of the universes. So honestly, like that isn't even such a bad idea. Obviously for like, universe 6, 7, and 11, it would probably be the most popular ones, but I mean, they could do the other ones as free to play or something. I don't know. But regardless though, right? Just an idea that they could obviously do. But in terms of the boy Toppo though, that is all we have for his celebration and him specifically at the moment. Obviously, again, we will know more about him next week, right? When we come back for next week's episode, we'll have the full shenanigans of him, and we'll get to talk about the banner. I'm really hoping that his banner is good, man. I'm praying. I'm kind of holding out for the worst, to be honest, considering Vegeta's banner was so good. I can't imagine they'd follow up with another banger, but hopefully they do. I'm hoping that'll be good at least. But regardless, though, before we go back to JP, unfortunately, good old Globo. Woo! Let's go, baby! We only have one thing really to discuss for Global.
Yeah, I mean, it's barely anything really, but
yeah, Global has been very dead, unfortunately. Thankfully, bro, I every time I swear we talk about it, but that sync is gonna go crazy, man. When we finally get the sync, we will not have to have these stupid shenanigans of like, another week of no Global content.
I mean, To be fair,
So-
very soon Global should get the announcement for the Dual Dokkan Fest.
Yeah,
Right, which is what we were just gonna talk about, you silly goose.
All right, man.
Yeah, it's
No,
literally,
okay.
we
Yeah.
should see, as far as I'm aware, the teaser for Goku and Hirudegarn is potentially going to be tomorrow morning. So it could be in the news for Global in like just over 10 hours, basically. Because
Sound to me.
usually that stuff goes into the news when it comes up with the thing where it's like a new Dokkan Fest is coming. That's usually 48 hours before the units come out. And I think when it was because obviously we skipped a year because JP and Global got Gohan and Piccolo at the same time. But the year before that, when Global did not get the New Year Dual Dokkan Fest and it was the Goku and Kid Buu, they came out on the 1st of April, which is Monday. So potentially the teaser will be in the news tomorrow morning and then the banners come out on Monday. So that's kind of it, really. That's all we basically know that should be.
All right,
next.
moving on. No, I'm just kidding.
But I mean, no, realistically, that is kind of it, right? Is the teasers should hopefully be tomorrow, which means the banners come out Monday. If the teasers aren't tomorrow, well, I know it's technically tonight for you guys and people in the US, but if the banners don't come out tomorrow, if the teaser isn't out tomorrow, it means the teaser will be Sunday morning and the banners come out Tuesday. But
Right.
because that's the 2nd, which is when I believe the data download dates data has the thing for like the Goku that we're obviously going to talk about in a bit, because that comes out on both versions at the same time. But yeah, in terms of Global, we're still kind of stuck in that limbo that like, yeah, Goku and Hirudegarn should be next. They should potentially be coming out on Monday, but as of now, we have nothing in the game for like confirmation that it is them. So hopefully we do see that in it'll be like 10 hours and 15 minutes from now, basically. So
yeah,
we shall see. But
we shall see indeed. I will say the one thing that we could comment on that is, man, it is going to be rough for Global coming up here. Like it is always kind of, I don't know, I feel like Global is just always rough in these streets for like, you know, the banners, they come like back to back or like are pretty close to each other. But man, you know, we are, you know, it's going to be golden or what? It's going to be this into, well, there'll be something in between this and Golden Week.
It'll be the
will there?
No, it'll just, well, technically it's because his celebration I don't think had a part 2 LR, but it's all the 50% support unit EZAs and they have their banners coming back as well. So for Global on the year, because again last year we skipped one, right, because of the superhero stuff, but with this timeline compared to, I think it was the same as 2022, from like Saiyan Day till the anniversary, it's just like banner after banner. You got Saiyan Day, which yet again this year, as we kind of predicted like last year, the Saiyan Day unit has come out and is like the best TUR in the game. So you want to summon for him. Then we've got Golden Week. The Dual Dokkan Fest comes out potentially Monday, which is 2 banners. Then the 50% support units, which if you wanted all of them, that's 5 banners, technically. And then we've got Golden Week starts at the end of April, which is another Dual Dokkan Fest. Then has a part 2 LR. Then for Global, it'll be Frieza. Then whoever Toppo's part 2 LR is. And then the anniversary. Like, from Saiyan Day to anniversary, it's just like banners.
I just don't know what they're gonna do unless they like just squeeze everything like really close to each other. Because we know that there's gonna be a content sync. I wonder if it's possible that there is going to be that content sync, but like, what if all the banners haven't come out? It's like they sync the content, but then the characters that came out in JP, what if like 1 or 2 of them just return on a banner earlier?
Yeah.
And then it's like that's Global's first time getting that character as well on that banner.
I would be fine with that, to be honest, if it was like a good banner.
I think that would work out for Global.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be interesting, especially because it'd be 7 featured. It would be a Global W. I just don't know. The banner unit, I guess, would just be put unfeatured, and it's like, good luck, buddy. I don't know what they would do, but that's the only thing. Unless they introduce banners that don't have a new banner unit, like Rose, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It would kind of depend. I feel like, to be fair though, like ironically enough, we were talking about with the funny Kamen Rider man. Like, I feel like people wouldn't care that much if, you know, like it was just thrown in there. You know, I mean, like some people might, but
imagine if Rose comes out on GP. Like, what if it's like a thing where we get like a Dokkan Fest Zamasu, then Rose is put on the banner, and then like the Gammas and then Global gets that banner as well, and then that's how
That would be
Weekly
interesting.
gets Rose. Is like a Rose and Zamasu banner where they're on there together to Dokkan Fest, like the Gamma's banner.
That'd be
I
interesting.
think Global got Rose early for just whatever reason.
That'd be weird though, because then it'd be like Global got him early for no reason if they did that. It'd be kind of
Right.
strange.
Yeah, I just don't know what they would.
It's weird.
I just
But
don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle it because obviously, we are getting ever closer to the sync every day. So, it'll be curious to see when they finally get it. And I don't know, I think it's like, I'm sure that some people will be frustrated that it will be a little bit of like a bumpy road to get there. But I think the thing is, like, regardless of however you spin it, it's going to have to be a bit of a bumpy road to get to the eventual final result of, having it fully be synced up. And I honestly think that the game will be, in the long run, better off for it because obviously, even though in the short term, it'll be like, dang, this is a lot of stuff to summon on that, will be like kind of tough to, gauge what you want to do. And obviously it'll be a lot all at once. I think for the game's overall health and just, like the longevity of Dokkan as a whole, and not to mention just like obviously, finally getting things at the same time. I think that it will just be better for the game, even if there's going to be a little bit of suffering at the moment.
Yeah, you know what would be crazy? It would be crazy if they imagine Hirudegarn and Super Saiyan 3 are skipped, and then they're just on the Global on GP Golden Week banners at the same time.
That would be cool. Well, do you think if they would do that though?
But like it'd be like such a huge time saver.
True. That is true. But wouldn't they, don't you think if they were to do that though, wouldn't they remove it from the global banner though?
What do you mean?
Like if JP got Goku and Frieza on the Golden Week banner, or Goku and Frieza, I'm sorry, Goku and Hirudegarn rather, right? If they got those guys on the Golden Week banner, right, like as just one of the featured characters, don't you think that like since Global would obviously get them basically like right before that happens, don't you think that they would probably just remove them and change them out for another unit?
What if they don't even bring out those banners in Global? And then they just put the units for the first time on Global on those banners.
I mean,
like completely
honestly,
skip Goku and Hirudegarn?
Honestly, for Global, that would probably be a W, right? Not having that banner come out on Monday. Like on Monday, imagine if like Global got Frieza and then Golden Week just has Goku and Hirudegarn like on the banners. Because for most people, you should probably be expecting, unless you're a big whale or mini whale, whatever, you should probably be considering just skipping Goku and Hirudegarn, because if it's anything like last year, not only are we of course saving for the anniversary anyway, but Golden Week last year was 23rd World Tournament Goku and Piccolo Jr., who came out as essentially being like the two new best TURs in the game. So you don't want to go crazy summoning for Goku and Hirudegarn, and then we get Golden Week and it's something crazy and they're, just way better than Goku and Hirudegarn. So if they then changed it so it was something completely different, that would still be probably a fairly easy skip, especially if it was a unit like Frieza, who, people are very mixed. Whilst the unit himself is good, his team's kind of weird. That would just be a perfect opportunity to skip him, but then summon on Golden Week for the new units and potentially Goku and Hirudegarn. That would probably be a global W, honestly.
Yeah, and the only thing I would say as well is the fact that the Golden Week and New Year's banners are very similar to each other in terms of like returning the New Year's units and returning the Golden Week units.
Yeah.
Right. So like they always like return each other on those banners. So it's like, okay, well, it'd be basically very similar banners. And keep in mind, Goku and Hirudegarn did not get banner units anyway. So it's not like there's banner units that they have to return. Or have to feature something. So that's just a mega just like theory that I don't think it's gonna happen. I feel like Goku and Hirudegarn are probably gonna be on Monday and Global, especially because we know that well, firstly there's the content for that celebration, I guess. Unless they just put the content in like part 2 on Global, because we know that the last chain battle, which is the Hirudegarn chain battle, is in April.
Yeah.
On Global. So that's the only weird thing. We'll have to see what they do. But if they do something like that, where it's like they bring the content out in April, like for like the second half of April, but like you guys get like the Dokkan Fest Frieza banner in part 1, it'd be interesting to say at the bare minimum.
Yeah, I suppose that's the only thing, isn't it, as well, is it's not just the banner, it's all the content, because you get
Right.
the start of the release of the Movie Bosses 2 Red Zone and all that stuff as well. But I mean, they could quite easily, I guess they'd have to drop
they
that
could just
and all
they
the
could
content
drop
that came
that.
with Frieza as well.
Yeah.
Which would be
Like, I mean,
great. I would never complain about, them dropping more content at the same time. In terms of stuff to do in the game, not in terms of multiple banners. But if they dropped Frieza instead of the Golden Week, instead of the New Year Dual Dokkan Fests, but then we got all the content from Frieza's celebration and from that New Year Dual Dokkan Fest celebration, and then that led up to Golden Week with Goku and Rudigan on the banners, I think that'd be awesome for Global. I think it's unlikely. But I think it's awesome.
Sure. Like what was the content that came out for the New Year celebration? I could take a look at it right now.
It wasn't
All the
a
movie
huge
Red
amount.
Zone stuff.
We got Super Saiyan 3 Goku's EZA,
the
Ultimate Red Zone stages, some Super Battle Roads. You guys already got the step up, the chain battle. Then Sub EZA for Tech Tapion, and just besides
and the Kid Trunks, but that Tech Tapion's quite cool as well, isn't it?
That's pretty much it. Like, and then there's I guess I don't know if there's a special chain battle.
And the movie EZAs too, right? Or the EZA areas, rather.
That was Kid Trunks. Yeah, that's Kid Trunks.
Yeah.
But, like, they could put all of that in the second half of April. It's basically 4 Super Battle Road stages, Rudigan chain battle, the 5 Red Zone stages, and then Super Saiyan 3 Goku EZA and the type banners. So it's they could put the type banners out, and those could be the banners that come out the second half, and then they could bring out all the content with it. Because that could be interesting. But I don't know. They would probably just put the celebration as it is on Global. That's just if they really want to speed things up. That's a potential option. It would make them get less revenue, but it's unless they squeeze the banners really close to each other. I just don't know what exactly they're gonna do. That's all fun speculation. Monday is likely gonna be the Dual Dokkan Festival.
Yeah, we should, like I say, by the end of the weekend we should know for sure. But
but it would be crazy if Frieza gets shown and my theory is correct. Probably,
Bro said I'm being diabolical today. That's crazy. But yeah, that would definitely be cool. Honestly, I do think I don't know, that'd be a thing where I feel like people would be mad about it, but they wouldn't think about how it's just kind of better. Because they're going to be summoning for the unit anyway.
Imagine
eventually,
if Global announces the Tanabata LR.
Bruh.
That'd be insane. Because that'd be another issue.
Where's Tanabata gonna be?
Yeah,
it's
we'll
really
see.
Weird. I don't know where Tanabata is gonna be.
So it's another whole side tangent we could get into. But yeah, I guess by the end of the weekend, we will know for sure what is next on Global. But as of right now, we don't know. Apart from the next thing we will be talking about, because it's on both versions at the same time.
Yes, sir. Thank God. Content, baby. So, if you guys are unfamiliar, we are going to be getting a very, very cool card, getting a Awakening and a EZA, that of course being the AGL 59 Jacket Goku, aka the Goku from the break before the Cell games, which is a really, really cool card, honestly. If you are unfamiliar, I've talked about it a little bit on Twitter this week, but it's actually my favorite outfit for Goku, ever, period. It's my favorite outfit that he's ever been in. So I was really excited to see that this guy was going to be getting a Awakening and then obviously subsequently an EZA. So that was very, very cool. Obviously, right, this guy also got another buff in terms of my side of things, which of course was animations as well, because not only did they add just a little bit to his super attack animation, they also gave this guy an intro as well, which was literally everybody that I saw who was talking about it was huh? They gave this guy an intro? Because I feel like for most free-to-play cards, they typically do not do that sort of thing.
Last year Bulma got an intro.
That's true, I guess. Yeah, maybe
It
it's
wasn't
just this
voiced,
time
though.
slot.
Oh yeah, this one is it voice? I don't think
I do not think so, but I'm not sure because I
almost
haven't.
last year wasn't voiced, dude.
Yeah, because most of the time, unfortunately, that is the one sad thing about these free-to-play cards is that they usually don't give the free-to-play units intros voices. I think we actually, you know what? Hold on, we do know because
Take a
I was
look
gonna
here.
say, we can only look on the Dokkan
know.
Wiki, and the
It's not.
Dokkan Wiki doesn't have it. Yeah, I
No,
was gonna say we
no,
could
the
look on
Dokkan
Dokkan
wikis
World.
aren't voiced regardless, no matter
Right,
who posts them
exactly.
or
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But
I was
just
gonna say
checked,
Dokkan World did post it. Yeah.
Dokkan World posted there's no voice, which
Yeah.
sucks. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
It's a shame, yeah.
I
mean,
honestly
I guess it's better to have an intro with no voice than not have an intro, I guess. But yeah, it's
True.
They don't
Cool to have
have
more
it.
animations, but
It's so weird. Like I genuinely wonder if it's just because they're like, yeah, we can't make money off of this character, so oh well.
They won't spend
Like,
too
I
much
don't know.
money on it, yeah.
Right. It's like,
This is
we're
very-
not gonna, put our resources into a card that, is free to play and, people are going to obviously like A, not be spending money, and B, it's like, will people be using this card a ton, so I guess they'd rather just put their resources into something else, which is a bit of a shame. But oh well. I agree though. I would rather him have an intro than not have one. So either way though, very, very exciting that he is going to be coming. And I will say it is quite interesting because and we'll talk about this a little bit more in a second, but I figure it's just worth noting at least before I throw it over to you for the kit that this guy actually is not the April Fool's card. I mean, obviously because he's an Awakening, but we are going to be getting a separate April Fool's card that they have not shown off yet, but we'll talk about that in a second. So, kit-wise for this man ZZ, I've heard that he's all right. Minato, what do you think?
He's decent, right? I definitely don't think he's bad. I think he could actually look pretty nice. I wish that his guard was just like they should have just given like guaranteed guard. It would be very nice, but when he has guard active, it's just weird. He has to be under 60% to be start a turn. Then you need a Goku family character, which to be fair, you can run this guy as like a floater on Beast Gohan's team. He's supporting. From what I saw, his defense gets to like decent high levels, nothing really too crazy. He can look good. I just wish he was a little more consistent. He should have honestly just had like, or it should have just been at least the damage reduction should have just been there, and he doesn't have to guard for the damage reduction. Is my only thing about it. And then he would have been like actually pretty good, I think, in that situation. But for now, he seems like a decent character. I thought I misread him at first. I thought he always had guaranteed guard with the Goku family ally. So I was like, oh my goodness, this guy's crazy. But I looked into it after. I'm like, oh wait, no, I was silly. So with that in mind, he seems like a decent free-to-play character. I have to use him first, and he will be out on the 1st of April, of course, for the April Fool's Day celebration, or at least the day after April 1st, I guess. But you guys get the point. Seems like he could be interesting.
Yeah, it's funny because he reminds me of, obviously not saying they're the same level or anything. I know people, as soon as you compare units, it's like, are you saying they're the same? But he very much reminds me of the AGL Super Vegeta EZA, where it's the kind of thing where if he comes onto the turn on like the first turn when you're on full health, then he could potentially just get absolutely destroyed because he doesn't have that extra defensive ability that he gets. But if he comes in on like the second turn and you've lost a bunch of HP, then he's really good, right? Because he has the guaranteed guard, he has damage reduction. If you're on low enough HP, he can get a guaranteed additional super as well, and he greatly raises attack and defense on super. So I think it is a bit of a shame because I know pre-EZA or pre-Awakening even, he had a chance to guard below the HP threshold, whereas now he has guaranteed guard as long as you're below the HP. I think they should have just given him like high chance to guard if you're above that HP threshold, so he does still have the chance to guard, because he gets that damage reduction. You have to have a Goku family character, but you get the damage reduction if he's guarding. So it means on the turns where he's not going to have the guard, he also doesn't have the damage reduction, which is two big things. Like if he was just missing one or the other, it wouldn't be as bad. Like let's say he had guaranteed guard, but he only gets the damage reduction if you're below the HP threshold, then he would still be considerably better overall. But yeah, it's going to be the problem with he comes onto the rotation on a turn where you're on like full health, and then just defensively he's not going to be anywhere near as good, and so then he becomes one of those units that he's there floating to give support, but if he gets hit by a super, you get killed, which is unfortunate. But he is a free-to-play unit, so I mean, overall, just from seeing his kit, he does seem good for like a free-to-play character. And have to see him in game. We do the showcases and stuff, but yeah, it will be one of those things where you start the turn on too much HP, and then he could be a bit of a liability. But otherwise, he should be decent. So I will say as well, his art, I don't know what it is, like if it's just the angle that they chose or something, but there's something about his face that doesn't sit. I prefer his SSR art like considerably more than the TUR art.
This is a certified "Hey, it's me, Goku" moment.
I think it looks fine, but I definitely would. It's a little weird. I would prefer his SSR too.
Yeah, I will say as well. By the way, actually, I just realized I should have jumped in straight away, but I didn't want to cut you off. But the Dokkan assets over here, fake heroes fan, because we all know the Xeno Goku drip is the best Goku fit, not the 5-man jacket.
Do you know what's ironic? So funny enough, well, okay, then let me specify. Canon Goku, this is my favorite outfit, right?
That's fair.
So the funny thing that you say that, bro, is literally, it's so ironic that you say that, because I am a clap back for you, bro. I was out here defending Xeno Goku in these streets because somebody made a tweet the other day. So I don't know who it was, some random person on Twitter,
think I saw.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, Xeno Goku's drip is atrocious. And I had to hit him with the bait used to be believable, bro. I was like, come on, man. There's no way. It is so cool.
I know.
There's no way. So either way, though, don't worry. I love that fit. It is fire. But yeah. So I don't know. I do agree with you guys, though. Funny enough, that I actually like his SSR art better. I definitely don't dislike the TUR, but again, bro, this just every time we talk about something like this, it always brings up the thing of like, man, I really wish they would just let you apply the SSR art to a TUR card, right? This would be a perfect example of it, right? Where you could just throw it on there and then have that be the card art that appears. I think that would be really cool, but. Either way, though, I'm glad that this guy is getting something because obviously this is also, I think he's the only Goku with this outfit in the game, right? Unless I'm misremembering.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, which is like kind of crazy, but at the same time, like I guess not really, because obviously he doesn't wear it for very long. I will say, though, I do kind of hope, I think it would be really funny. It would probably end up being like a support memory, all things considered. But I would love if somehow that scene where Krillin throws the rock at Goku, it's become such a meme in the community, right? I think that would be awesome.
Dude, the second I saw on his kit that he had an intro, I was just like, please let it be that.
Yeah,
and I was so disappointed.
I was so disappointed as well. I was like, man, please let that be the intro. That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah. I do hope that they like, you know, implement that, because I think that would maybe work for like a support memory or something like that, honestly, because obviously it's not really an attack unless they made like that a Krillin card where like that's his essay and that's his attack. That would be really funny, I'm not gonna lie. But either way, though, yeah, I do hope that they incorporate that, because obviously the pre-Cell Games chill arc is a great one in Dragon Ball Z. So yeah. But either way, though, obviously that is the boy Goku, right? We did get one more thing in terms of what is coming up on April 1st, which you know that I'm very excited about this, considering I swear I've talked about this guy in multiple podcast episodes. So, indie data download, we got a brand new Hercule statue, that being the Super Saiyan Hercule statue. And as you can see on the screen, not only is this dude throwing off 2 peace signs, but he's also got some crazy Super Saiyan hair. They actually went like so nuts on the Super Saiyan hair on this guy. I love the way that it looks. It almost looks more like Super Saiyan 2, to be honest, with how nuts his hair is. But very, very cool. Obviously, just as like a little reference to the, that episode where Hercule, quote unquote, goes Super Saiyan to defeat Beerus. But with that being said, obviously because Dokkan always likes to give us some kind of April Fool's card, right? Where they, will obviously give us some card that's a little bit more of like a joke kind of card for April Fools. We've gotten all these different like themes in the past for different things in Dokkan. We got Dokkan fishing, we got the Dokkan racing, we got the Dokkan dating sim or whatever that one was, the Dokkan Battle, I think. So
like
a lot of
FPS
people are
one.
speculating, this one will probably be Super Saiyan Hercule, which would obviously kind of make sense if this is the Hercule statue that they have added into the game. So, I already knew that they weren't going to do it as like an actual like Dokkan Fest or like, anything like that. But this obviously leads to some speculation that Super Saiyan Hercule could be the April Fool's unit, maybe even Beebis himself, from those like 5 seconds that he's in the anime. Ningen, what do you think? What do you think about this guy right here?
I mean, yeah, I made a video about it that went up a little bit ago on the channel. I see this as, because every year, right, when it comes to around this time, people will, I don't even want to say speculate necessarily, because it is more so, I guess, just like wishful thinking or whatever. But like every time it gets to this year, it's like, right, boys, this is the year. April Fool's unit. They're finally going to do Super Saiyan Hercule, right? And they still never have. And then last year we got the Goku, who, of course, when it comes to like character choices, even though he's from that sort of like the chill bit of between the Cell games, like he's not like a comedy character. Right, he's not like a sort of a joke pick for like April Fools, right? Yeah. So every year people are like, oh, it'll be Super Saiyan Hercule finally, and then it's always not. But yeah, this just strikes me as, I don't know. I mean, they could have just done it for no reason, but it's like, why put in a Super Saiyan Hercule statue if it's not related to anything, right? Because I brought it up just to double check, but it's like the diamond statue that we have now, he has like the double peace sign, like the material looks, it's literally exactly the same, except he has Super Saiyan hair. So if they just wanted to add a new statue that was worth more zenny, they could have just, made another one that was made out of a different material or something, but they made a specific Super Saiyan one. So I mean, I wouldn't say like it guarantees, like I'm not gonna say I stake my reputation on it, we're getting Super Saiyan Hercule, but
on the goat.
But yeah, I feel like it's, I feel like this is a pretty big hint, otherwise just why else do it, so I think it'd be cool.
I wouldn't be surprised if this guy, what if he was just, what if that Zenny card is just what we're going for April Fool's Day, because before in the past, like it was years ago, but in the past we did get unplayable cards before and stuff like that.
True.
So like I wouldn't be surprised if they just, instead of just giving us a Super Saiyan Hercule, that Zenny statue is just what we get for April.
That'd be such a tease.
That'd be so disappointing. Like every year for the last couple of years we've gotten a card, so
it would suck, but I want people to make sure that they know that is also a possibility, and it doesn't mean that we're necessarily getting.
Yeah, I mean, not so Splash. You're a fraud. I disregard your opinion.
Look at this party pooper over here.
I think that we should get a card. I expect a card, but I want to make sure that that we are aware.
I mean that is true,
too, but
like high key, right? It is kind of interesting because it kind of seems like within the years past, right? Because like it was clear with like like dead Yamcha, right? And like flipping the bird Yamcha, like those are pretty easy money, like April Fool's cards, right? Like that you can tell are more like joke cards. I mean, even like Yamcha's kit, right? Like dead Yamcha's kit is like the biggest joke in Dokkan, but like it is kind of funny because it kind of seems like in years past they've done it more so related to like the theme of whatever is like the fake game mode that they're making, rather than actually doing something where it's like, this is like clearly supposed to be a joke card, right? Like that was how it was with Goku, right? That you were just talking about, right? It's like with this scene for Goku, right? It's not really like a like a funny scene or like a joking scene or anything. It's like it's just a scene from the show, But yeah, it relates to Dokkan because obviously, or relates to the April Fools because obviously last year was Dokkan fishing, the peak, quite frankly. But obviously because they're fishing in the scene.
I did take a look here at last year's data download, right? That happened for Kale, and from what I took a look into here, Kale, the Bulma, and the EZA for the same man and Videl card were all in the same data download. So
okay.
and they're not gonna do another data download, I think, before before like
Man,
it comes
that would be
out.
so disappointing.
It
That would
would
be so
be disappointing, but Bulma was in the data last year.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I thought they'd kept. Someone said, I think earlier on either one of my videos
I saw Rick say
on
that.
Twitter, yeah, that they don't put it in. I think it was Rick replying to Truth, because then I thought, oh, okay. If
It
he
might
said
have been
then, yeah.
on the global side, because on JP last year, I'm taking a look. I literally brought up my video titled "Insane Free Bulma Dokkan Fest Kale Data Download." So that's where they added Kale, and that's where Bulma came out.
Okay.
The only difference is that this Toppo data download was earlier, because last year it wasn't over the weekend. I think this year it was. So while there's a possibility,
They
it
could
was
do
just
another small because the thing is, what I do like, I just wanted to mention it briefly anyway, with the way they do those April Fools things, is I think it's kind of funny. Like, I mean, for the most part, especially, it sucks when you're into like gaming or any big shows or anything like that. April Fool's Day is always super annoying because it's all the like fake announcements and stuff. But I like the thing that Dokkan does, where it's like they basically pretend like they're introducing a new game mode, and then when they don't actually introduce it, they kind of word it in a sort of way where obviously all they really ever intended to do was just give out some free stones, but they kind of word it as like, sorry guys, we're unable to implement this new game mode, even though we totally planned to implement it, but we can't for some reason. So here's some stones as compensation. Like, I think that's quite funny. But yeah, they try and like keep up the facade as like that it is going to be a new thing as a joke.
Yeah.
So I could see them, if this data download was early, then obviously like keeping that as a secret, and then there is a smaller data download when they then turn around and say, oh yeah, sorry guys, we're not giving you this new game mode, but like here's this new like card or whatever. So hopefully we do still get something.
Possible.
But
I'm just not gonna like hold my breath on it and cause until we see it, then I'm gonna be like, yeah, we'll get a card.
Yeah,
I feel like it's likely we get a card, but Kim, they only usually do one data download per week, and it's like, unless there's
usually, but that's not always the case.
Because they could have planned
like
it that way
3
on
data
purpose,
downloads
right?
in 1
To
week.
keep it a surprise
for like anniversary and stuff like that, but usually for these like smaller celebrations, I still think it's possible. But
yeah, we'll see, I guess. But
because unless they do the data download, I guess on the first, like, well, I guess what they could do is if we get content like on the 3rd or the 4th for like whatever EZA could come out potentially with Toppo, and then it could be a thing where the data download is on the like literally the same day that the card would come out, and in that situation maybe we could see that. But then it's like, it's weird because like we have the Goku in the data already, and last year the Bulma was in the data with the Saint Man, and they came out at the same time.
yeah,
Goku's coming out at the same time as what the April Fool's Day card would.
yeah.
So I don't know why they wouldn't put it in the data download person, but I mean,
We'll see. I mean, it's one of those things that maybe, because I know Truth mentioned it earlier, I think, on a thing about Frieza, and something about like the way they're releasing info now is like maybe they are deliberately keeping some of this stuff a bit more secret from like data downloads, because they know that the community like sees everything as soon as they put it in there. But I don't know, maybe that is just wishful thinking, but I guess it's one of those things we'll just have to wait and see. I suppose, worst case scenario, just have your expectations set that we could not get a card, but who knows?
No. I think I'm silly. Sorry. The Bulma came out a few years before, actually. That came out last year.
Wait, no, didn't she? Oh, wait,
last year was
Dokkan
Dokkan Fishing.
Yeah, she EZA'd last year, and Goku was the new card. So if Goku wasn't in that data download with her, then this is the same as last year. So.
Okay, it is the same as last year. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Yeah,
okay. I am tripping then. I thought it was Bulma.
What a
last
silly
year. That's
boy.
why I'm tripping.
That's crazy. Spreading
Sorry,
misinformation.
I know, right?
What could you say? I'm the misinformation guy.
Me when I spread misinformation.
I was gonna say, where's the smirking Ningen emo? Let's get those in the chat. That's Minato when he spreads misinformation on the internet.
We being devious today.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But anyhow, yeah, so obviously we will have to see what becomes of that. It'll be interesting to see what Dokkan does for like their fake game mode this year as well, like you were just saying.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I'll be very curious what they do. Honestly, you know, I will say that as my kind of final thought on that, I know every year they do like these fake game modes, but I think the ultimate bait and switch would just be like 1 year they like go over all this like fake game mode stuff, and then they actually
do
implement it.
Dude, that'd be sick.
That would be so fun. Like 1 year, just like, you know, out of the blue, they're just like, you know, yeah, we're actually putting this in the game. That's the April Fool's joke.
Well, you know what they should do, right? Is they should do, let's say it was Super Saiyan Hercule. They should do, the joke game mode should be that it's like, almost like, I don't know, make it like as if it's a JRPG or something. And it's like the adventures of like Super Hercule or something.
That would be awesome.
But then they don't bring that out as usual, but instead they just drop like one random, like a red zone stage versus Beebus or something. That'd be awesome.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
That'd be so good.
Hercule has like super like boosted
any characters with
damage on
Hercule in the name get like an extra
Yeah.
like 1000% attack and defense or something. Like that'd be so
amazing.
good.
I would definitely be down for that. Yeah, I think they should do some funny shenanigans like that for sure.
I think so too.
But anyhow, we will know more about April Fools next week once again. I will say this is the last thing I did want to mention, just because it came to mind before we move on to our favorite segment of the podcast. Do we usually have the April Fools like beginning of the fake game mode in the game? Because I swear, don't they usually do it like day by day? They drop like new screenshots, quote unquote,
and stuff. Yeah.
Should that not be in the game by now? Because it's already the 29th.
I wonder. Yeah, if you look on search
I
Twitter
guess
for
we'll
like
just have to wait
Dokkan
for
Fishing
tomorrow,
or something.
guys.
Let me do that.
Yeah, because you know what I mean? Like they usually are like, oh, you know, this mechanic will be implemented into the game.
I mean, Global hasn't had the data download, right?
Yeah.
So
True.
after Global gets the data download, we'll probably see that put into the news, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
The thing we know is that in the data downloads, they still add stuff like the celebration news and stuff. We just can't see it for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So, like in that situation, like since they haven't had the data download, they probably haven't put anything, which is why I haven't seen it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's all. The stuff that's like for the news is all server side. None of that stuff is local, so it's not like you can't see it. It's just like it's not in your app. It's just they have to send that out through their servers. So, but yeah, we'll see. Obviously next week, hopefully we get the Adventures of Hercule. That I'm rooting for that now. I like that idea. And yeah, we will now move on to the next section of the podcast, which is of course everybody's favorite section, the trash takes. And boy, do I have one for you today. So obviously, being the host of this episode, I was the one who picked the trash take for this weekend. There were a couple of good ones that I honestly considered, but this was just like so short, so sweet, and so trash that I couldn't help but pick it, because this was just
I'm pretty sure as well that the person who made the take is in the chat. I don't know if their name is still there.
Really?
Sure
so I have to say, before we show the take, right? I have to say, and I have to make this plug because this plug is relevant. Please follow the podcast Twitter account, because I was going to reach out and see if I could get more of an explanation for this one. But you don't follow the podcast. I don't even know how maybe it's just from us then.
Yeah, they would see it from one of us retweeting it, I guess. But yeah, if you don't follow the podcast, we can't DM you to get more information.
We can't slide into the DMs, bro. So please follow the podcast so we can get more, especially if you want to have more of an explanation. Because we don't want you to get clowned on and then you had a reasonable explanation that would have maybe give you a little bit more brownie points with the three of us. But with that all being said, right, let's throw the take up on the screen here. The take for this week, as you can see, bro, the shortest take of all time. One of my, a take that I definitely have some hands with. Skill orbs suck.
What I would also want to say is if JC Gamer is in the chat, you could leave your extra explanation if you want.
Yes,
could read
please. I'm literally begging you, dog. if you have more of an explanation, please throw it in the chat because I want to know. So obviously, like, you know, I'm pretty sure that I'm seeing the chat as well. It seems like this is basically going to be an L take, but here's the thing, right? The thing that I like immediately thought with this, I was like, okay, well, skill orbs, right? The only reason that I could see you not liking them is you wanted them to do more, right? Where it would be a thing of like, I could see you maybe wanting it to do more for a unit, or like, you know, maybe not have it be reliant on the dupes, right? Because obviously you only unlock like the gold one when you get a certain amount of dupes or whatever. But like, it's literally only a good thing. It just boosts your characters more. It just gives them more that they can do, you know? If a character can't get crit, you can give them crit with skill orbs, right? If a character, you know, like obviously needs a little bit more dodge, or you want to do a little bit more of a balanced build, right? If you want to give them more stats. Let's see. JC Gamer in the chat said, I don't like them because I feel the system is bloated with horrible orbs and they are doing enough to the system. Okay, so I think the problem then is that this take, most of the time, you're getting orbs that literally do nothing. So I think maybe then what the take actually should say is that the system to obtain skill orbs sucks. Because at the end of the day, that I could definitely agree with, right? Like the RNG of getting skill orbs, right? Obviously, when it was with Chain Battle, you know, obviously it was random in terms of like, you know, you had to pull them from whatever those like medallions were called. I don't remember. And now you get them from the Wii event. But
what I would say is, I think I see where he's coming from, because you say the system and you're thinking like, oh, the process to get them. That's true as well. But by the system, I think he means that they're being very ununique with it, very unoriginal. It's just more additional, more dodge, more defense, and it's not interesting mechanics that they could add to characters.
That's fair.
Which I think is why he thinks it sucks, because while the idea behind it is nice, they're not doing anything special with it. Like, imagine a skill orb that could be like, oh, if you add this skill orb to this character, they have a high chance to create rainbow orbs, or from the 4th turn from start of battle, this character gets a 50% attack boost or something, right? Like, they could be so unique with skill orbs and make them like extra parts of the passives that will allow you to customize these units like an actual customization system. But they're being very unoriginal and very plain with it, which is why I could see someone like, you know, I personally, I'm fine with it, I guess. I would love for them to add more, but I can see why someone would be like, well, this doesn't really like change anything. It's not like you need skill orbs to like clear content, and it's not doing anything special besides making your characters just a bit stronger, right? And it's kind of boring. So especially with what you have to do to grind for them, like especially now with the new Wii event and them getting rid of the Chain Battle, which was so easy to get those skill orbs, I see why someone would think they're boring.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, so like just to chime in a bit here extra as well, but the this is exactly why, just as a precursor, this is exactly why, as we've already plugged, follow the podcast.
I was just gonna say that, bro.
I deliberately didn't put the poll because I wanted to try and get the little bit more explanation, because there's a couple of things. What's so funny about all of the extra like nuance and stuff to the take now is all three of us essentially read that in terms of like what they're not doing enough to the system as a different thing, because Theo mentioned getting the orbs, Minato mentioned the possibility for more unique things that they could do, and then the thing that I thought he meant, when especially afterwards when he said about like the bunch of orbs that just don't do anything, is like I think we've even speculated in the past about some kind of system where you could take all of those like level 1 and level 2 like additionals that you're never going to use because you want to use better ones, and then combine a bunch of them together to make a level 5 one or something, right? Like something like that would be really good, because nothing is worse. Like skill orbs in general, like especially when you get good ones, like skill orbs are good. It's just the system itself absolutely needs to have like could be improved significantly. And yeah, like being able to combine a bunch of the older ones that do new things would be very interesting, because nothing's worse than, I know Chain Battle's gone and the process to get them has kind of changed now, but like nothing was worse than getting Chain Battle done. Like, you know, if you had a good friends list, getting a couple of runs, maybe retrying a couple of times, whatever, getting that top 1%, then you open all your chests and you keep getting like level 2 and level 3 like attack and level 5 health upgrade and stuff like that. And it's like, well, I don't want any of these. Like, I'm not going to use them. Like my box, if you want to call it that, for skill orbs is just full of like garbage ones that I'm never going to use. And I would much rather be able to combine them into, like, imagine like a forging system, because some of the best ones are the ones that of course give you like 2 abilities, right? So things like, I feel like the most valuable skill orbs for both silver and gold is skill orbs that give you dodge and additional. So imagine if you could like meld together a whole bunch of like low level dodge and additional skill orbs into making like one level 4 additional and level 4 dodge, like silver or something. Like that would be so good. And then the defense ones and attack for the bronze, now that we have level 7, like, except you'd constantly get like 2s, 3s, 4s, like from the rewards, being able to merge a bunch of them together to make the level 7 ones. Stuff like that I think would be like way better. And of course, like Minato said, the fact that they have the ability to do, they could do other things that are completely different. Because I mean, the system as it is, if they were to improve just how you could get more orbs, the system as it is, if you get good skill orbs, it's still good, right? Like being able to give characters right, that better build, right? Get a bit more additional or a bit more dodge, like support units that want to be full dodge instead of being 15 because they're like an STR unit, you can get them up to like 25 and stuff like that, right? Which helps them out a little bit. But yeah, I definitely think like if we just take as it is, skill orbs suck, then it's an L. But when we explore like, you know, the system around skill orbs could definitely use a lot of work, I would agree with that like 100%, right? So definitely definitely a lot of extra nuance to be added in there.
I personally would say this is the W take with the additional information.
Yeah, bro really turned this around.
I think literally at least two people in the chat, like after he put his comments, literally put like, this has gone from L to W, like in the chat.
Yeah, see, that's why I wanted to make sure I got that side where it's like, it's not necessarily, it could be many things that you're not thinking of, and not just the face value. Especially against, you know, when you say skill orbs suck, you could talk about so many things about skill orbs specifically. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so also, of course, to give a shout out, because we did mention it already, I do like to try and remind people, of course, if you're watching the VOD back or you're listening on the Spotify version, do try and make it out to the episode live if you can, and take part in the poll in this segment to let us know your thoughts overall on whether this is a W or L take. Of course, if you are watching the VOD back, feel free to leave a comment as well, but... yeah, this is definitely this is a comeback. This is one of those like you had us in the first half. Story. Not gonna lie, like memes
for real.
Because we are there's definitely been a significant turnaround. So Theo, based on all of that extra information and kind of the bits that we added, I wondered if you had any other thoughts as well, especially with things like new abilities they could do and stuff like that. Because I feel like there's a lot of potential for skill orbs, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, they could definitely do that, right? Like, that would be a great way even to, like, I don't know if they just didn't think about it, but, like, low-key, that would even be a way for them to do, like, pseudo super easy A's, right? Where they could do that, where they could give a character a little bit more buff. Like, obviously, it wouldn't be as significant, but it could still be something that they could do to, you know, like, give characters specific skill orbs, right? And then, obviously, you know, have it be something that would, you know, benefit the unit more. It's kind of interesting, right? Like, obviously they do that for the anniversary characters, and now I believe they also did that for the worldwide characters, if I'm not mistaken. But it's kind of interesting to me that they don't do it for anybody else. Like, I feel like that's such an untapped area of the game that they could easily do like just so much with, because literally all they have to do is just add the text onto the same PNG, you know, of the skill orb that they would want to use, right? And then, just give it to whatever character they would want for a specific skill orb, right? Like that would be something so easy that they could do. So it's kind of interesting that they don't do that. I do think, honestly, right? I think that the only thing else, maybe, because I think you guys had a lot of good ideas, right, when it came to all these different aspects about the skill orbs, right? I think maybe the one thing that would be a little bit more like nice would be, like you said, I think that would be a great way to remedy it, right? Like having a thing where you could merge different like lower tier skill orbs into some higher tier ones. I think it would also be a good idea if they had some type of thing where maybe you could like buy certain ones from a shop and it would like reset every month or something. Like, I think that it would be nice if there was just an easier way to obtain specific ones rather than having to run an event over and over and over hoping you get a drop. And I know it's a gacha game, so like that's just kind of, part of the deal that you sign up for when you download the application. But like, I do kind of wish, because skill orbs are such an important thing in the game, right? I mean, like, you may not really think about it too much, and obviously you can get by like not having them, but realistically, right, like you can give your unit some very substantial buffs depending on the skill orbs that you give a unit. And it's the type of thing that sometimes for certain runs could make or break a run, right? Obviously, sometimes it's down to that, that last dodge, or the character needs to hit a critical hit. And if you don't get those things, sometimes then obviously you'll lose a run. And it's even worse when those are on like limited attempt runs, right? Where it's only like 6 runs a day or something like that. So, with how important skill orbs are, I think it is kind of a shame that there isn't really a way to like, pick one that would be a little bit better, or make it easier for the player to get higher tier ones. Because obviously, like you can put a level 1 skill orb, but obviously, the percentage isn't like a crazy amount difference, but it is still a percentage that, hey, if you had a level 1 skill orb on there and that didn't proc, but if you happen to have a level 5 one and it would have procced and you would have won, that would have been the difference between a couple extra dragon stones in your pocket, right? So very, very interesting, right? I definitely think that there is a lot that they can do to the skill orb system. And I do kind of hope that they, that they do actually do something with it in the future. If they do some kind of revamp, right? Like a version Z2 type of thing, that would be perfect for them, like having huge skill orb revamp. So I don't know. Only time will tell on that one. But yeah, I think everybody had a lot of great ideas. And I'm glad to see that we had a turnaround here, bro. We had a turnabout, which was great, because usually I feel like that doesn't happen as like unanimously in terms of everybody agreeing with the take going from
this
L
is one
to
of those
W,
this is definitely one of those ones where the explanation like turned the car around, right? We were heading towards a cliff, and then the driver woke up and
bro, he said all right, time to lock in. Like, bro, we would have been like tearing into this one if the explanation wasn't given. So thank God. And all of this to say, please follow the Slot One Super Podcast on Twitter.com.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Regardless, though, let's see. What is the poll at, Ningen? Because I know it's like more visible for you.
Yeah, let's end the poll here now that we get to the end of the section. So there you go. It's a pretty considerable W take. That's why I waited to post the poll, because I knew if we just put the take up on the screen and put the poll, it was YouTube doesn't let you change your mind, right? So it would have been I think overwhelming L if we just put it up straight away. But yeah, I do think with the little bit of explanation, I can see definitely there is a lot that needs to be done with the skill orb system to make it better. But I mean, as it is now, I wouldn't say it sucks. It just, it could use a lot of work for sure. So
yeah, skill orbs need work. Let me autocorrect the take there.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that is it for this week's Trash Takes section. This is probably the shortest in terms of like word count trash take that I think we've ever had.
I think it literally is, yeah.
Literally 3 words, bro. Can anyone beat this? Can we get down to 1 letter for a trash take at some point, bro? I don't know if it's possible.
You know what? The
maybe
ultimate trash take that would be less words than this is if someone just don't do this because we're not going to pick it. So I don't think you could just do it and then get into the next episode. But if someone put the trash take "heroes suck," because then there you go. That'd only be 2 words and would be the trashiest take of all time.
That's true. That's true. Like literally it would have to be like the only way to make this shorter would it would be like a letter that represents something and then like a greater than or less than sign and then another letter that represents something. Like that's it, bro. That's the only way I can see you making this shorter. But anyway, yeah, so that is it for the trash take. Thank you guys so much for all of your submissions this week. As per usual, again, this is going to be the last time I shamelessly plug our Twitter, I swear. But go follow the Slot One Super Podcast on Twitter, obviously, because every single week on Wednesday, we always post a brand new tweet for that week asking you guys for your trash takes. Thank you guys for always giving us a couple of submissions. It's always nice to have some stuff to actually, like look through and, have a couple choices to pick. So yeah, definitely if you would like to participate, definitely go over there and follow and throw on the notifications, because to be honest, we really only tweet like 3-4 times a week. Which is basically the trash take when the episode is going up, and sometimes a tweet in between, and sometimes something extra. So, yeah, definitely.
And shout out to JC Gamer as well, not only for the take, but also for being in the chat for the episode as well.
Thank you for pulling out. Thank you for your redemption arc, bro. But anyhow, that is going to do it for the trash take section. Now we have our final section of the episode, which is, of course, the super chats and donations. Remember, obviously, this is the section where if you guys have thrown anything our way, we greatly appreciate it. And we will now be reading it to end off the podcast episode for today. So if you would like to throw anything in there last minute, excuse me, I don't know what I was about to say. Thank you guys again. And obviously, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I suppose, you can obviously go ahead and throw them in there right now. So with all that being said, Ningen, ball's in your court, my friend.
Okay, so yeah, again, as Theo said, appreciate all the contributions, help keep the podcast going. So shout out to all of you guys. Shout out to everyone that makes it out for the live one. Shout out to you. Yes, you right now listening, whoever you are, whether it's on Spotify, the VOD, all that good stuff. People watching live, we do appreciate you all, of course. So to start us off, we have Drace with a $5 donation. He says, not sure if someone has mentioned it already, but a lot of games have been showcasing Goku versus Vegeta. I wonder if Golden Week or Worldwide Celebration will have a Goku versus Vegeta theme. So that is interesting, because I know it was the official Dokkan page, not Dokkan, the Dragon Ball official, I think the Twitter account is called, posted a big thing about Vegeta just before Saiyan Day. And then, of course, Saiyan Day was Vegeta. I know one of the big things, a lot of people asked me to check it out because I hadn't seen it, from the recent... or fairly recent, I think it was the last one, I can't remember, but the Kakarot DLC where it's the end of Z and it ends with this epic Goku versus Vegeta fight. So yeah, what do you guys think? Some kind of Goku versus Vegeta for Golden Week, I think would be kind of cool.
I think that'd be cool. What would it be? What if they do Saiyan Saga? They could.
It would be cool. I mean, the only thing is, I feel, they kind of did that for Anniversary, but it was less of Goku versus Vegeta and more just Goku and Vegeta.
The Part 2 LR thing.
Yeah, with the Saiyan Saga units for that. I honestly think it would be kind of cool. I don't think that they would do it, but funny enough, you say that, Kakarot. I know you and me being Super Saiyan 3 fans, because you imagine an end of Z Super Saiyan 3 Goku? Oh!
Yeah, versus Super. So well, cool. I guess technically, does he go Super Saiyan 2?
Super
technically,
Saiyan 2,
Vegeta, yeah, because there's that awesome Final Flash beam struggle thing with the Kamehameha versus the Final Flash. Dude, that would be so good.
He does Gallic Gun into a Final Flash.
Yeah, because it's they basically recreate the beam struggle from the Saiyan Saga, but then as Vegeta's losing the beam struggle, he basically cancels out of the Gallic Gun and does the Final Flash instead. Dude, that's so cool. I would love that. If they literally just took it straight from the Kakarot thing. So it was like end of Z Goku versus Vegeta, Super Saiyan 3 Goku in the end of Z, like Gi, versus Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta that does the crazy. Even if he had that as his super, he could Gallic, because you know we talked about this before, how attacks that don't necessarily land on the enemy or even defeat the enemy can get used for Dokkan attacks. Imagine if we got a Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta where he does the Gallic gun, and as the beam is like driving the enemy into the ground, he then cancels it into the final flash. Like that'd be so cool. Good. So yeah, that would be super cool. Also, yeah, there's that Xenoverse trailer. Somebody in the chat just said with the whatever that weird new thing is,
super villain Vegeta, ultra ego at home. You know,
who knows?
Yeah, so definitely could be very interesting. A Goku versus Vegeta theme would be very cool. And yeah, we have seen in the past, like there has been some times where these things going on in other games or things being posted by the various different social media accounts are then connected somehow to a future release. So that's certainly something very interesting to think about. But yeah, that end of Z thing, I finally watched it. That would be pretty sick. So yeah. All right, so shout out to Drace for that one. Shout out to Sokodo for the $5 super chat. He says, is that the maskless human, mini toes, and Dokkan ascended from the One Super Slot podcast? Oh man, says half asleep over here, I think. But shout out to our boy. Shout out to Drace for another $5. He says, although I prefer LR Queen Kefla, I think we'll see a Dokkan Fest exclusive Toppo, and then LR Dispo, EZA LR Full Power Jiren. Makes sense to me, but Dokkan might just drop LR Kid Buu. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe, who knows, right?
I mean, it would be kind of cool, I guess, again, for me, it would not be something that I would think was super hype, but just for for the sake of like Toppo's team, if the Part 2 LR was like crazy super speed mode dispo or something, and then the two of them worked really well together, obviously that would be something that we'd like to see, because even if the characters themselves aren't the hypest choices, in my opinion, I do think it does make more sense when they bring out like a Part 2 LR that is a direct help to the actual Dokkan Fest, right? Because it makes sense as well for like people who've summoned for the Dokkan Fest, and then you drop a Part 2 LR that's like, hey, if you get this guy too, it like mega juices that new unit that you just got. Like it's kind of makes sense for them to do that from a business perspective as well, really. So, but yeah, we talked a little bit about the possible LRs. Dispo could be an interesting option. I think the other one someone did mention in the chat actually that we forgot to say, from another big character that people mention from time to time from the Tournament of Power, is the Aneraza thing, the like the Team Universe 7 LR. That's like the giant thing that they fight, isn't it? So that's something that could be interesting to see as well. So shout out to Drace. We also have another one from Drace. It says Toppo build is full crit. 2024 is the year of crit, 2025 additionals, and then 2026 is dodge again. I mean, based on what we said earlier, if it does turn out that Toppo's active skill gives him guaranteed crits for the entire rest of the battle, then I think that pretty much cements that you don't give him crit in the hidden potential. But we obviously don't know necessarily until he's in game if it does actually work like that or not. Because that's the thing, I've seen there's arguments for like characters that have an active skill where they crit guaranteed, but only on the active skill turn. Then, you know, those units, it can still be worth giving them crit depending on, you know, if they are a damage dealer or whatever. But if he gets guaranteed crit from that turn onwards, then I think that pretty much does invalidate like any real major reason to give him crit. But yeah, it's I guess we'll wait to see how well he does in the game. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, because he loses damage reduction with each hit he takes after he transforms, doesn't he? So if you've got dodge, every attack you dodge, not only are you taking 0 damage, but you're not losing a stack of that damage reduction as well. So I think he does see, as much as people like to meme on Truth and others saying that like every unit is full dodge, I feel like he probably is a pretty good option for a full dodge build. So, but we'll see. So shout out to Drace again. Shout out to Malk for the $5 donos. This is an interesting one. Let's see what you guys think of this one. So hot take, the tech Vegeta, same day Vegeta, saves EZA physical Vegeta as long as he has a full dodge build supplemented with additional. So he means the physical transforming Vegeta.
Yeah.
So thoughts?
Saves?
Yeah.
How? like genuinely, like I don't understand how.
Well, I don't know if Malk is still in the chat, but I'm assuming the main reason I can think of off the top of my head is obviously Vegeta is a slot 1 unit, who's a very good defensive unit. Then this Vegeta goes to slot 2. I think they share every single link when the tech. Oh no, that's Super Vegeta.
Vegeta is just so bad.
But yeah, you have to get like. I mean, I guess the advantage is you put Tech Vegeta in slot 1 because of their links and how good he gets his own key. Vegeta won't basically need any orbs. So that frees up the orbs for the Super Saiyan Vegeta restriction. But on turn 1, it's like 7 orbs, isn't it, to get an additional super?
Transforming Vegeta is like worse than AGL Bardock.
Like that's a hot take right there.
Strong
like
take.
I don't know. I think
What do you
it's
mean?
like
Physical transforming Vegeta? AGL Bardock is definitely better.
So
Yeah.
folks say he's not a good EZA, like STR Jiren bad level. Is he
Transform
STR
Vegeta
Jiren bad
sucks.
level? I don't know.
because
Like,
like
Jiren might be better.
I mean, the
I
problem,
don't
the
know.
thing is, he sucks for the early forms, but like I used him against Omega for a random video the other day. I think it might have been doing the Super Vegeta versus Omega like showcase. And once you get him up to God and then Blue, like he's still somewhat decent, at least in the meta we're in Global.
yeah.
But yeah, like he definitely sucked for like the worldwide content because of course that stuff was all super hard hitting straight away. And then with the anniversary, even though those events are, a lot of the events from the anniversary are a bit easier at the start and get harder because of the general little bit of like power creep, even those events where we would say the beginning is a bit easier than it is at the end, they're still hitting pretty hard, like even at the beginning. So I'm not sure if Vegeta really is able to hang in there. Like I would say on Global as of right now, where we still really only have like Fusion Zamasu and Omega, like he can be okay on Vegeta's team, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd say he was saved just by having a good slot 1 unit.
I mean, that's the thing that you got to remember. It's like, yes, definitely when a character gets a better, like buddy to run next to them, obviously a lot of the time then that will make the other character better, whether it be for the case of like links or whether it be just because, they have some support. But like, yeah, well, it's like it doesn't make the other unit like magically better. You know what I mean? Like they still stink on their own, even if they have like a little bit of like a better partner to kind of like work with, right? It doesn't make their kit like, their kit doesn't suddenly like just magically get increased numbers or like better effects, so
I
don't know.
People in chat are saying like, oh my goodness, why are you saying Bardock's better than Vegeta? Because he is.
That's crazy.
I don't know if you guys have used Transforming Vegeta. Like he sucked in worldwide content.
Yeah.
Content, not all content that was introduced during the 9th anniversary is long. I think there's such a huge misconception like, oh, every stage is lasting 10 phases now. It's so long. No, there's still fights that last like 5-6 turns, which are most of the fights last still 5, 6, 7 turns. They're just longer than the 3 turns that Worldwide Celebration content fights last for. Which is longer content, but that's not even enough for transforming Vegeta to even transform to Blue sometimes. And the fights hit harder, and it's not like they hit weaker early on necessarily than some of the worldwide fights. Like turn 1, they still hit pretty hard. So transforming Vegeta with like his 250k defense, and then you have to wait for him until he's like turn 7 to actually be decent, compared to Bardock, who is at least decent already on turn 4 with dodge chance. Like there's a clear difference between the two, and if you don't see that, you just probably haven't played the characters in those difficult content units.
Ningen, I'm sorry to do this to you, but I think this may just be a certified global moment.
I was about to say, like, I could see the argument maybe having some, if you're just talking about the meta on global, maybe, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, shout out to Malk anyway. Appreciate you. It's interesting discussion point. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he quite gets saved. He's certainly better, but yeah, I don't know. Especially with the anniversary having a bunch of STR bosses running around as well.
Oh yeah, that's another thing, right?
Yeah.
At least Bardock has the advantage because he's AGL. Like
Yeah.
Transformer Vegeta, there's a lot of STR bosses now. So.
But yeah, so shout out to Malk. Shout out to Trace with the $2. He says, run it back. Part 2 LR Brienne de Chateau, which is the, of course, the
Yikes.
untransformed, but
No.
the int one, right, that transforms immediately. So yeah, that's right. We could link her together with the LR Brienne trio. I'm sure that would be hype. That would make Brienne $1 million, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that one somehow.
I see.
But then we have another interesting one from Malk, good speculation one. I know we talked about the Goku versus Vegeta idea very briefly, thanks to the Drace contribution, but he says, any guesses on Golden Week? So I know that could be a whole huge discussion in and of itself, but if you guys had to pick maybe one or two like dual Dokkan Fest ideas for Golden Week, what would you go for?
I would like to see. Boy, I had a guess earlier that I forgot about it. Oh yeah, Dragon Ball Saga. I wanted to see Goku versus Demon King Piccolo, or either that for Golden Week or Tanabata. We could see Super Saiyan 3 Goku versus Papu. Could be really cool.
That would be sick.
Goku versus Hit. There's a lot of options, but those are just some I'm thinking over the top of my head.
Theo?
Well, funny, I think 3Ku versus Boo would be fantastic. I would love that as something, obviously being a Super Saiyan 3 fan, but
yes.
I think low-key, obviously having just watched like I've been talking about it on Twitter. I'm sure you guys have seen. I've actually never watched Dragon Ball all the way through the OG. I know, crazy. But beating the fraud allegations, I've been watching through it lately with a friend of mine, and we just finished the like Tien versus Goku fight, and I honestly think that like out of all of this stuff in Dragon Ball, like I swear that is like the most underrepresented is that world tournament. Like there's certainly some stuff from it in there, but like the big boy fights that happen in this tournament, I swear there is like barely anything in Dokkan from it. At least it's like a substantial unit. So I honestly think that like a Tien from that time would be really, really cool. Whether they would do Kid Goku or someone else as the other one, right? I guess would kind of remain to be seen. But I guess it would have to be Kid Goku if it was going to be that fight. But I think that would be super cool to do a Tien. Like there's so many awesome moments from that tournament that they could do. They could do like when Tien breaks Yamcha's leg. They could do when Tien just straight up like blocks the Kamehameha and then also fires one of his own just out of spite. They could do like the first the first Tri-Beam, the first Kikoho, right? That would be really cool. I think any of those things for Tien himself would be a really, really cool choice. I don't know. I guess I don't know. The only thing that makes me a little bit apprehensive about picking Dragon Balls, because they did a Dragon Ball thing for Golden Week last year with obviously Piccolo and Goku for the final world tournament of Dragon Ball. It would make me think that like they maybe wouldn't do that again this year, but I guess
what they could do is instead of Golden Week, because I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I really want Kid Goku as an LR. And then the SSR or the LR being him standing when he's facing off against Demon King Piccolo for the first time. Like you'll see that pose. It's the same pose as the EGL SSR. Yeah. You'll see that pose when you get there, but it's so raw. Like you're gonna be going insane when you watch that. It's so unbelievably raw, right? So what I would say is that as Tanabata, part 1, Kid Goku, then we get Tien bannering in it, maybe a Tien bannering in it does the Mafuba, right? And then we get part 2 of our Demon King Piccolo. And maybe in the future we can get another Dokkan Fest Tien. But like I really want them to be LRs. I think Dragon Ball Saga doesn't really have a lot of LRs specifically either besides Bulma. In fact, is Bulma like the only summonable LR? So like I think getting more LRs for that would be awesome. And then Golden Week could be something else. Or if it's Golden Week, it could be like Part 1, Goku versus Tien. Part 2, Demon King Piccolo LR. Part 1, Goku versus DKP. And then Part 2, Tien LR from the 22nd World Tournament.
That could be cool.
That could be cool as well. Where he does the Kikoho, right? Something like that could work too. I just think I really want to see Dragon Ball this year. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like, I will say, in terms of obviously how like big of a moment that is with Goku defeating Demon King Piccolo, it is so shocking to me that it's not an LR. Like, it is just a Dokkan Fest, right? That they did so long ago now at this point as well.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's so shocking to me that they haven't done anything, because that's like kind of like, you know, obviously the peak of Kid Goku, right, is like, you know, literally that that moment. So it just kind of surprises me that they've never like done that, especially considering, right, with all things considered, especially taking into account Dragon Ball Daima coming out this year, right? With how much that they have been, obviously pushing Kid Goku stuff, right? When it comes to like merch and just like in general, right? And then obviously, of course, when Daima comes out, I'm sure there'll be even more. It's kind of surprising to me that they aren't like trying to do some more Dragon Ball related stuff to kind of like, I don't want to say push that agenda, but I mean, I guess I don't know what other word you would use to describe it, right?
Yeah.
So to kind of get us hype for more Daima stuff.
Yeah, I could see that. Plus, it's one of those things, we know that they plan all these things way in advance, but like it would be cool for like you know, for like in honor of Toriyama to have like something Kid Goku or Dragon Ball Saga related. Right. But in terms of non-Dragon Ball stuff, I do think it is possible. I know like Minato, I think you both mentioned obviously the fact that it was last year as well, so maybe not as likely this year. So just as a couple of ideas that I've thought of in the last, you know, couple of weeks or so, that are not Dragon Ball Saga related, something that I think would be very cool, because we talk about getting a Dokkan Fest for him all the time because he still doesn't have one, is if we get Baby versus Goku. I don't think we necessarily. I don't think we need a new standalone Super Saiyan 4 Goku yet, because the in one he can be saved kind of, but
I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing. Don't spend your coins on him. I'm not gonna say nothing.
I'm just gonna say that if we get a new Super Saiyan 4 Goku, I wouldn't mind it.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
I think
but
we could use one.
I think we could get what would be more interesting. I think. I mean, they could make that an intro animation, I guess. But what would be more interesting for me, I think, would be like Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku, and then give him the first Super Saiyan 4 transformation animation, and he transforms into Super Saiyan 4. Because then that would also be a Super Saiyan 3 buff. And then obviously have Baby be like Super Baby 1 transforms into Super Baby 2.
That's what I would like as well.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
That's what I think. I'm just saying, if they do flat out Super Saiyan 4, I just don't think it would be that big of a deal. You know, it's not like there's like.
Well, the problem is, it kind of. I know a lot of people just already think that the LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku is washed, but the problem is, if they brought out a standalone Super Saiyan 4 Goku, it means that he really is just done. Because even if a new Super Saiyan 4 Goku that came out that was really good, but you could run the LR like on his team maybe as a floater, then he would have some use, but that Goku can't really be run as a floater because he has to be in slot 1. So if it's a new standalone Super Saiyan 4 Goku, that's like the nail in the coffin for the LR, which...
what do you mean, Ningen? He'll just get an
What we need that Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku that transforms into Super Saiyan 4. He needs to provide 20% damage reduction support to like Super Saiyan 4 characters. And then I'll feel safe running in Super Saiyan 4 in slot 1. At that point, if he gives 20% reduction.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, because when I say, like, he could be saved, is obviously, you know, it depends how. But yeah, give him that sort of Kid Goku thing, where it's like, gives all allies damage reduction. Because even with the anniversary content, like I was saying, the earlier stages for some of the events are not as bad as they get later on. So if you get into a situation where very early, you can get Goku to get his 5 hits and actually get full power Goku out, then it's not as bad. But I mean, the problem is for global...
I would say is that mindset, I think it makes sense, except when you consider that full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku has the 1-turn guard. And when his guard is done at the end of the events, he'll get 1 shot. So you have to save it for the end, which means that if you're in the middle of a fight and they hit really hard, he dies. Unless that's debuffs. That's the issue with him, and the fact that he wants to be in slot 1, so he's going to get stunned, he's going to get sealed, he's going to get or even like sort of Trunks could lock someone in slot 1 and then he has to be in slot 3 or slot 2, and then he gets hit super hard because he doesn't have his full 40%. Like,
I guess it's one of those
I feel
things,
bad for him. I really do.
I feel bad as well, like as a global player, because of course for us, his release was, you know, he came out after the worldwide celebration and was just not good in the worldwide celebration content, which was super unfortunate. Because the unit is very cool, but he's just
he is very cool.
They made his base form a little too weak, and I think they designed him rather than the Omega fight being designed around him. It feels like they designed him for Omega, which since he's so hyper focused in that Omega fight, which is designed a little differently than any other fight, I feel like that hurts him a little bit. I feel like if there's one fight that he could be potentially good in, it's maybe I can't even say the Beast Gohan fight. Because he's typed as a man, and so if that guard runs out, he's gonna get stunned in slot 1, not do damage. Then his guard runs out, and then he can't be slot 1 anymore, and then he dies.
Yeah.
Sort of hope Trunks, he gets locked. He can get locked in slot 2, and then he's stuck there. It sucks for him. Maybe like the UI Goku red zone.
My goat is washed. This is crazy.
It is unfortunate, but
I'm still so sad about that to this day, since that was like one of my worst Dokkan shafts of all time. Thankfully, I got him, but like,
if only his reaction, like it's just him being locked to slot 1 is what kills him.
Yeah, because he needs to be like, that's the thing, is he's a unit who is designed to go in slot 1, but now in the current level of content is just not good enough defensively to be in slot 1. So it's kind of awkward.
If you could build him, if his like standby skill, you could dodge, and then you could build him with like 30 dodge, it would actually be way better.
Oh god, don't even get me started on like I mean, I know it is a meme, but like I swear every time I use him, he dodges at least once with that level 5 dodge. Whereas like, you know, I have support units that I've built with like 30 dodge, and then when I'm doing videos, they never dodge. And then there's this guy with his level 5. He will dodge 1 attack in every single event I use him in, I swear. Like,
and then that causes you not to get this.
Yeah, it's outrageous. Like, and the funny thing is, the meme, because I used them together for a video just for, I think it was something easy. Like, I think it might have been one of the recent burst modes for Global. But the Limit Breaker Goku from the 2022 Heroes is also a unit. It's another int Super Saiyan 4 Goku that needs to get hit to get built up, but he's int, so he has level 5 dodge, and so he dodges all the time.
Having to take a hit to build up is so dumb.
Yeah,
because it's like I get hit so I could build up my defense, but then if you have to get hit to build up your defense, that means you have bad defense, and getting hit will kill you to die.
Yeah, and you get bad orange. That's why that Goku was dead on arrival for Global to a certain extent, because you have to get hit to build up, but you put him in slot 1 against like Fusion Zamasu, and then he supers you in slot 1, and then Goku just gets killed, or you know,
what happens
is losing most of your health. But
he's in slot 1, he takes like a 70k normal, then like later he gets supered for like 300k, like 350 to 400k, and then it's like, oh, suddenly I lost almost 500,000 HP, then my other units get AoE'd.
Yep.
It just
it's brutal. So it's unfortunate. So but yeah, new Super Saiyan 4 Goku, whether it's transforming or not, I think would be good. So Goku versus Baby, for Golden Week.
We got on a whole tangent there.
I know, just to rein it back in. So yeah, Goku versus Baby would be cool. I think we mentioned it last time as well, whether they would actually do full Super Saiyan or just do him as Kaioken, but like Goku versus Lord Slug could be kind of interesting.
That'd be cool.
I know we've memed, I wouldn't like it personally because, you know, it's horrible but funny, I guess. We memed recently about like Bio Broly, but I don't think they would do a dual Dokkan Fest, because it'd have to be like a new Goten and Trunks or something, right?
Oh man, I really hope they don't.
Yeah, I can't see them doing that. But yeah, so I think Baby, for me, if I had to pick, I would go for like Super Saiyan 3 Goku into Super Saiyan 4 and then Baby, just because as long as they don't fumble him, that Baby Dokkan Fest would be so good for the extreme teams, just because of all the categories that he's on and everything. I think that would be really good. Or we could get a new Goku. Well, it would probably be Gohan focused, I guess, really. But like Gohan versus Garlic Jr. or new Garlic Jr. would be kind of interesting, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. So there's a few options on the table. I actually really like. I think it's one of the most unlikely options. But now that we've talked about it, and now that I finally watched that like fight, I really want it to be End of Z Goku versus Vegeta from Kakarot. But
that's really cool.
It's definitely not gonna be, but that'd be awesome. But
I mean, it's not impossible.
Well, it's not, but it's very unlikely, unfortunately. But yeah, shout out to Malk for that one. Obviously, we will know. It will be a few weeks from now, but of course, we will find out at some point the Golden Week theme, and of course we will have episodes focused on that once we know all of the details, once the units are out and all that good stuff. So we'll be looking forward to that. So shout out to Raldo Kuhn for the 5 gifted memberships of the channel. Appreciate you, my dude. Then we have our boy Shambles West re-upped his channel membership. So give me a skill orb that auto wins the stage. Now give someone how about a skill orb where someone has the Devilman passive? It's like has a 1% chance to do like 999 million damage. Like and then shout out to Drace, last but not least here. We have one not Dokkan related, but the Stellar Blade demo is out. I think that's PlayStation, I'm not sure. I know. But yeah, that is it for the shout outs, questions and whatnot from the donations. So I appreciate all you guys, as we say at the start, all you guys that help support the podcast and keep the lights on. Shout out to all of you guys. We appreciate you all very much. And shout out to everyone, of course, who came out, whether you're here live or watching the VOD or listening to the Spotify version, all that good stuff. So yeah, shout out to everyone who supports the podcast in any way, big or small. We appreciate all of you. So thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, with that being said, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching this week. Obviously, we had a very good time talking about Toppo. I am very, very excited to see him in game come the 31st. Obviously, come back next week. We will have all kinds of shenanigans to talk about. Right? We'll obviously have the majority of the stuff probably will be the April Fool's stuff. But obviously then we will be coming up on Golden Week just like we discussed. So thank you guys so much for coming by. We really, really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Haha, funny YouTube things. And hope you have a fantastic weekend. Happy Easter if you are celebrating. And with all of that being said, we will catch you in the next one. Have a good weekend, everybody.
See ya.